and our fix is ready. Here we go. Watch me scramble to complete a 3-hour show. We'll talk about knives and what's on your mind. Never know what will come up this time. We vibe and we chill, including spirited debate, but we do it with love and never with hate. We'll talk about knives and what's on your mind. Never know what will come up this time. We vibe and we chill, including spirited debate, but we do it with love and never with hate. We vibe and we chill, including spirited debate, but we do it with love and never with hate.
Yeah, it's a Friday night flicking, you know it's going down. Get your friends and your knives and let's have a good time. Got that blade click clacking and I'm ready to go. Gotta check the homie groove on to see what knives he's got.
I can't believe it's Friday and we made it. Get the weekend started, let's go live on YouTube. It's Friday, I can't believe we made it. It's Friday.
Can't believe it's Friday and we made it. Get the weekend started. Let's go live on YouTube. Ooh. It's a Friday night flick and you know it's going down. Get your friends and your knives and let's have a good time. Got that blade click clacking and I'm ready to go. Gotta check the homie Juve on to see what knives he's got. Ooh. Gotta check the homie Juve on to see what knives he's got.
Oh, I can't believe it's Friday and we made it. Get the weekend started, let's go live on YouTube. It's Friday, I can't believe we made it. It's Friday.
Lights go dark, the stream comes on. Javon's here, the vibe is strong. Click and clack, the steel in sight. Every edge sharp in Friday night. Night flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide. The craft with steady flow. Steel and story you'll wanna know. Flick of the wrist, how smooth it goes. Every frame a master show. Night flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide. Karambit steel. Every flick has that cool appeal. The chat goes wild when he reveals a masterpiece you wish was real. Viewers locked and they can't resist. The flick of steel's a weekly twist. Carving moments, he makes it slick. Juve on streaming, doing the trick.
A little bit, but are you high on cigarettes? And when that stuff runs out, you're gonna wanna make it. Are you high on cigarettes?
Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's
watch Siobhan's witness and get high on cigarettes.
Now this is the fear snake, the most venomous snake in the world. One bite from him and it's all over. No! Oh, no worries, mate. Luckily, we've had the anti-venom sent from America via FedEx. In my line of work, if you're not absolutely sure, you're absolutely dead. Oh, crikey. It appears we've used a different courier who hasn't arrived yet. It's okay because...
I forgot to push my button. Sorry, guys. What's up? I hope I didn't trigger anybody with the Steve Irwin footage. I didn't think it was too soon for that. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Friday. I hope I'm not too loud. I hope you guys can hear me. I've starting a little bit earlier on Friday since I'm kind of the precursor to said faction. I want to make sure people have time to, get a break between shows. I don't ever want to overlap. So I'll keep the time listed at 8:15, but I'll usually jump on here at 8. Y'all come in at 8:15, 9:15, whenever you want to. I'm just glad you're here. Marco was in the house early, and then brother Ian Coach stopped by before the show. I hope he comes back. I miss old Ian. I see him at Blade Show every year. I don't see him in chats as much because I'm not in as many chats. Hey Man is in the house. What is up? Hey Man. Brother Neil McKenzie, channel member. What is up? Ian is in the house. What's up, Ian? Good to see you, buddy. Ian and I go way back to, I think, my first Blade Show. If not my first, my second. Was it 22 or 23, Ian? Robert Jones, channel member. What is up, buddy? Marco is back in the house. Addicted to Blades 2 is in the house. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Douglas Wagner's in the house. Good to see you, man. And again, we're early. I figured going at 8 gives us time to kind of people file in here. I can chat. We can talk about 23. Okay, that's what it was, Ian. So that's when we met, but we've seen each other at every one since. And it's always a highlight of getting my Ian hug in at Blade Show. We actually went to the Kaiser dinner this year together, or not together, but we were at the same place. And Ian has definitely got an appetite. Don't let him fool you. He was an impressive eater. What's up, Double D, channel member? Welcome. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, we hung with Heyman this year. We hung with Jarek for real. I met several people. I met Grizzly Bear Leatherworks last year, but to me it's such a blur. I don't know for those of you that go to Blade Show if it's anything like my experience. I always get mega pumped up leading up to it. Super pumped when I go. I enjoy it. Run like crazy, and then the week when I get home, I'm just beat. I don't know if it's a dopamine dump. I don't know if it's a combination of the dopamine leaving me and the no, Ian, no, dude, you were an inspiration. Watching you at that dinner. Black Star Designs, what's up? There is very good knife company. Guys, what is up? There's stuff going on right now. I was talking to my buddy A to Z EDC. I'm just going to pull this up real quick and letting him know he's on the newsletter, so he's aware of it. But there are some knives that might have already sold out. But hold on. Hey, very good knife company. I've got a buddy that's here that's been staying with me. He and his wife for a few days, and he had a wasp, and I reviewed it. It was the review today. Um, the Heritage, which is a beautiful knife, and those look like the Grip Tech and the micarta scales. He had some bougie ones I saw on Instagram too. One Tradition Junior, G3 Special, carbon fiber handles. These are the ones. Oh, they're sold out. Yeah, I figured they would go. But if you guys were here, I think was it last weekend, Jacob joined us and talked about what they're doing at Very Good Knife Company. And there's so many different. There's a Mustang left in Nitro V with Grip Tech, which I think is a fantastic material. What just happened to my computer there? Look at that little beast. And the cleanliness of the lines and the transitions are next level stuff. The sheath is next level. Everything about Very Good Knife Company should be Very Great Knife Company, because it's all some of the highest quality of stuff that I see. And I wonder what Ron's doing. I had a channel member or a channel subscriber who sent me the first Very Good Knife Company to check out, and I was blown away by it. So much so that I reached out to Very Good Knife Company and said, I just reviewed one of your knives, and I want you to know that thing is wild. No, not the same Jacob. This is Jacob, and I need to learn his how to pronounce his last name. I say Aswit, and that's not right. But Jacob Creates is a fantastic human. I love his chickadees. But now, I don't own one yet, but I've got my eye on the Hail Mary. B Shady's got me very, very interested. Donnie Bless is in the house. We've got knife making royalty here tonight. I mean, we've got Black Star Designs, we got Bless Knives, we've got Jacob at Very Good Knife Company. Good to see you guys here. Hopefully, I'll have my technical guests that always get the conversation stirred up. A Sweet, Jacob A Sweet. Is that right? But Jacob, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch that video that I did on the Wasp, but when I do videos, I don't have a script. I just kind of talk. And what came to my mind was a conversation we had at Blade Show, and it stuck. It made an impact on me. It really did. And I shared the story. I hope you don't mind, but it was when you talked about. I asked you if you'd look at my buddy's knife. This is when you were at your booth. Your booth was covered up. You walked around the booth to talk to me. And you said, absolutely, I would. And, I was talking about, well, I know a lot of these makers are real guarded in what they do. Because you said, I've been doing this for a long time and I've learned a lot. And the way I've learned a lot is I've messed up a lot of blades. And if I can help your buddy not do that, I'm happy to talk to him. And I told Jacob that, that's a great attitude. A lot of people don't have it, that I've talked to. And he said something to me that was profound. He goes, John, I could walk out of here today. I've been doing this for 12 years, honing my skills to be as good as they can get, getting better every day. I could get hit by a bus. And if I haven't shared how I do what I do, how does that craft continue? And I just thought that was so not only humble, but real, and showing me his willingness to be just a awesome, not only business to do business with, not only awesome knives, but an awesome person to support. But yeah, dude, if you get watching that video, I hope that doesn't that wasn't in confidence, because not only did I just say it on a live stream, but it's on the video too. That little Wasp is a beautiful knife. It is probably, I could be wrong, it's either the second or third smallest, I believe. I think the Mosquito, and I don't know if the Mantis is shorter, but Very Good Knife Company. Those were the ones we were looking at, were the ones that are still available. But what's so cool about his offerings is, so adventures. Yeah, I'm going to do this. And I urge you guys, what's up, Richard? Richard Hopkins is in the house. Y'all go check out Jacob's knives that are available now. And what I'm going to do is just kind of walk through real quick, show you guys. I won't talk about them all, but I'll show you guys how he makes purpose driven knives because they're all have a specific kind of case scenario. So if you're looking at his knives, or if you like to collect knives, but you do like me and you're like, I've got this knife that kind of fits that same task. I've got this knife. Jacob's knives are all pretty much unique in the task that they were designed for. So that means it can be an expensive habit. However, the value that you're getting for that expensive habit as you start to fall in love with and collect these knives, you're getting them at what I feel is an amazing price. And you're getting an the option of a more budget-minded steel in the 80 CRV2, which I think is under, I don't want to misquote without looking. Hold on. I don't know why my clicky's so slow. It's probably because everybody's on the site. All right. That's frustrating. Uh-oh. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? All right, let me try to share that again. But pound for pound, in terms of a quality knife and a really good price, I've screwed up something here. I want to say they start out under 200, and in Nitro V, with some of the finer appointments, they're well under 300. So for a USA made knife, Jacob does a fantastic job. And like a lot of like Donnie and like Shane, they'll go live and you can watch a knife from it being cut out to it being final sanded, and you can see kind of every process and everything that he does. I'm going to go grab the wash. Y'all hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds. What I ought to do is play a commercial. If I was an asshole, I would serve y'all a commercial, but I'm not going to do that. But I am going to give you, I'll be right back. Hold on. See, I could have run an ad taking just the same amount of time and I would have probably made 42 cents. But this is the Wasp. So one of Jacob's knives, this is in the carbon fiber series with the carbon fiber handle in Nitro V. And the first thing that I pay attention to is the sheath. And not only is it meticulously formed, but I'm one of those guys. This is Richard Hopkins' Wasp. And he carries all of his scout carry. I like to carry mine in a pocket with a clip. And Jacob's holes are so close together, you're not limited to the clip style, whether it's a deep concealment carry or like an ulti clip or something different. You've got options. But the beauty of it is in the retention. That push off is done with his finger. He shows that on how he forms that and how he does his Kydex. But I know people don't buy knives for Kydex, but I see a lot of knives that come around with Kydex, and this is as good as it gets. But where it really shines, and what's so amazing to me, let me see if I can make myself one big screen. Hold on. So this little knife has an absolute, and my lights aren't going to show it, an absolute perfect plunge grind. As you rotate it, it's got a perfect bevel on that ricotta. So you've got a little bevel here and a little bevel here that just smooth it out and give it another level of refinement. Beautiful swedge. I love the way his blades mark. That just basically tells you that it's a Wasp and Nitro V. And on the other side, tells you very good knife company, USA. But I would put my reputation on anyone who likes EDC fixed blades. If you look at either what are available when they drop, or you look at one that you want to order or look for because it suits your style, I will buy it from you if you don't like it, if you don't think it's a great knife. Again, I've reviewed now 6. I showed the one that my friend sent me to my buddy A to Z EDC, who's on Instagram at A2Z EDC. The 2 is TO. But he immediately bought one, and I think he's bought one on almost every other drop. He's just really become enamored with them because when you look at them, again, the retention's unbelievable. The quality is up there with all the best I've seen, and it's just the value's unmistakable. So very good knife company, guys. Hats off. I always love to see them when they stop in the chat. That is a burnt relic made that for me, Ian. That is hand burned into the wood. It is absolutely stunning. And it is little Chewies right there in front of him. But thanks, dude. I'm glad you noticed him. I miss Jason every day. Miss him snapping to people in the chat. I miss all of it. I'm sorry if I missed you guys in the chat because I just now came back after being, let me do this. Let me get this back on the stage. So I'm flipping around YouTube today. And since I now talk about knives, I don't watch knife content only because I know how my brain's a sponge and I don't want somebody else's opinion. If I want to, I'd like mine to just be what I think about knives. Cause I always say I'm not the cutter guy. I like to talk about how knives make me feel, how I carry them, how I use them, which is pretty much the same. Opening cat food, opening packages, breaking down cardboard, cutting wood, whittling, the regular. But the more knives that I see and some of the designs that I see are, I want to click on the video. I want to watch it, but at the same time, I might, I just feel like it's somehow going to bias me one way or another. But today I'm flipping around YouTube and I love Bob DeMarco. One of my favorite, I love the Knife Maker or the Knife Nut podcast. Bob DeMarco, I've met a couple of times at Blade Show, and he's as warm and friendly and knowledgeable. If you're, wanting to fight with knives, he's that guy. He's the guy I would not want to have to fight with a knife. But it was Knife Nut podcast, and the edition or the name of the Knife Nut podcast was Scuffle with Ben Belkin. So that kind of made me think, Ben is Jack Wolf. And so I knew Jack was going to be Ben was going to be his guest, Bob's guest. And I was like, Scuffle usually sounds like a dust up. So I turned it on and started watching it, and they were just talking, about, and just talking about knives and things. And some of the questions that came up, it got to be where I don't know how to, and I'll learn because somebody asked me in the comments, how, when I watch your lives back, can I see the live chat? And there's no way that I can set that to be, it's something that me as a viewer, when I'm watching it, I go in and I toggle something to see the live chat. But what you would see is you would see the chats that Bob would click and put up, that was like this one. So if I do that, you'll see Brando's if you watch it back. Do that, you'll see Bless's, Brother Donnie's up there. But all the chat that's rolling, I don't normally see on replays. But I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but it looks like a really interesting, some good questions, good conversation, no hate, a little bit of debate, a little bit of frustration, and just a good watch. Did anybody see that? Did anybody watch that last night? Because full disclosure, I've bought 2 Jack Wolf knives. I love them. I have known Ben Belkin since before he ever had his first knife made. I'm a huge believer in Ben, both as a businessman and as a friend. I consider him a friend. When I first wanted to review, I'm not in the pass around group, but I wanted to review one of his little, the first little EDC fixie. And I talked to him at Blade Show. And he said, call me, DM me after Blade Show. So I DM'd him and he sent me his personal one to review. I sent it back to him, but I was glad to have an opportunity to review it. So I don't have any hard feelings there. But what I think's interesting is public relations. And when I say public relations isn't really a one size fits all. So I don't know. I'd be interested if you guys are a Knife Nut podcast fan and you watched that last night. Donnie, I've never talked to Donnie, but he seems like an awesome guy. I've talked to him via email, but Ben is a joy to talk to in person. He is absolutely awesome. He's a fantastic businessman. I have nothing the conversation that was happening last night, because they were talking about knife steels and they were talking about the S90V, and the question came up because I know some of the fat carbon Jack Wolf sends over to be used, and they were asking about the S90V, and they don't send small amounts of S90V to China. China has a big conglomerate that buys S90V from America. And, that's what their OEM uses. And then people came back and said, well, I know such and such at Crucible, and they don't sell S90V in those amounts to China. So it got to be one of those things, which was really, to me, fascinating, because there's a difference in S90V, in my opinion, and CPM S90V. They're both kind of taking a name, but CPM is Crucible, right? So Kaiser does this on the Maverick. Their Maverick is CPM-3V. So me as a buyer, I have to assume that is purchased from Crucible. And I know on on a Jack Wolf site that it's Crucible S90V. And he was kind of answering the question on how it's explained to him that it gets there, but he didn't seem to, and the reason I say that, I don't have a problem with analog Chinese metallurgy, because I believe, after watching Saul Glacier from Spyderco talk about the future of United States steel versus Chinese steel, the bottom line truth is the Chinese have much better, more updated, more technologically advanced foundries and steel manufacturing facilities than we do, because they're a much larger emerging economy. And powder metallurgy is something that can be, again, you can mix the chemicals together. That doesn't mean the cake's going to be the same. But if you're a pioneering company like China's proven to be in a lot of their other technologies, they can tweak that stuff. Because even Sal said, well, right now, I think American steels have a strong place, but who knows what the future is going to hold with all the changes and things. So I'm not saying it's bad to have, because I've got most of my knives, I would say, are, imported knives that are in steels that, there's a lot of questions, not from people that use knives, but in the knife community. And I'm one of those people, because I don't know a lot about business, international business, but I don't understand the cost analysis of shipping even a large amount of steel from the US to a mill in China, milling it in China into knives, and then sending it back. I would think they're much more efficient, effective, and economical ways that the Chinese could do that and just mill the material. But again, it's not, I would, if it were me, and I know everybody, I think where Ben started to get some pushback early on, which I never push back on this, is saying who manufactured his knives. And I agree with the point that he made about a nice design and its quality should stand on its own, regardless of who makes it. That's true. The fit and finish and all those things matter. But also, there's a perception of, I know what this company has produced knives for that are similar, right? So I'm not a knife designer, knife maker. I guess I technically have a design a knife, but I don't understand all that. But I do. My brain has a hard time believing that we're providing. Again, Laren, Thomas, and others have sworn that, to their knowledge, we've never sold Magna Cut to China. But I have a hard time thinking logistically that anyone in the knife game would do that. Do I have a problem with it? No. The only thing that I think would be better than it's currently done, and they wouldn't even have to say Chinese Magna Cut, but if they didn't use the Crucible or Uber Home or whoever, Bowler, don't use their actual name if they didn't make it. But it's all, it was an interesting video. I didn't watch the whole thing, and that was one where the title got me. It was Scuffle with Ben Belkin. And again, I'm a personal Ben Belkin fan. I'm a Jack Wolf fan. I've kind of gotten out of slip joints. Now he's making some really cool collaborations. They were talking about some of those last night. I just think there was opportunities to answer a lot of questions. And I need to go back and watch the body language because a lot of those questions weren't answered. What's up, Paul Mills? Paul Mills was in there. I was watching it today, and I saw Paul was in the conversation last night. Bob was clicking on him quite a bit. Paul, I don't know if you just got in here, but I was talking about today. I was flipping around, and I saw a Knife Nut podcast. And when I saw the title, Scuffle with Ben Belton, the curiosity got the best of me, and I clicked on it and started watching it and started seeing some of the questions he was getting asked. I've only probably watched 30 minutes of it. So I'm interested. Oh, that's the name of the knife. That's right. That's the name of the new knife. Well, there you go. See how a title can work, even if somebody doesn't understand what the reason is. The Scuffle, and that's a collaboration with who? Because that's the one they were talking about today. Because if I'm not mistaken, and I appreciate doing modern collaborations. I think that's really cool. But when I saw Scuffle with Ben Belkin, I thought Scuffle. And there were actually some scuffles in there. There's some, not scuffles, but some questions. And again, you guys, I think I've made it clear. I'm not that guy that worries about. I appreciate it, and I understand why it's important to get real information, but I'm not a steel snob guy. I just think it's, I just find stuff like that fascinating. And I'm not going to say how yet. I don't want to jinx it, but have an opportunity where I might have a chance to learn more about the inner workings of the business, which would be cool from a different side of the business, I guess I should say. Doing some kind of consultative type stuff there. So we'll see. Sweet. Scotch, I haven't seen Scotch live with you guys in a while. 10 to 10:30 tonight. Paul Mills is being told that Scotch and the Donster, Donzo the Clown, maker of one of the finest folding knives I've experienced, is going to be over there. They're going to be talking knives and talking shit, I'm sure. So y'all definitely go check them out. It's good to see you, buddy. I usually am watching you guys Metal Mondays. That's usually when I'm kind of dozing on the couch, but I enjoy it. Cliff Rat, what is up? Brando, I think I said hey to you, but hey again. Hey again. Colby, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Mrs. VGC is in the house. Mrs. VGC, that's my dyslexia. Mrs. Very Good Knife Company is in the house. She is guys, this when you buy an awesome USA made, I'm going to say it, perfectly ground knife at an exceptional value, not only are you supporting a US company, you're supporting a very small company. I urge any of you, in a second, I'm going to put their YouTube channel up here because I subscribe just so I can see when he goes live. And he goes live in the shop, kind of like Shane or like Donnie does. And it's just, it's a guy and his wife that do it for their family. You know, it's not like 6 people in a shop. It's Jacob. And I know that Mrs. Very Good is doing all the heavy lifting on getting this stuff that just dropped tonight on the website and doing a lot of that. So not you're supporting a young family that makes awesome stuff. That one day will be, I have no doubt, multi-employee, huge company. Because again, if they weren't in here, y'all have heard me talk about Very Good Knife Company. They're not an everyday experience that I run into. It's awesome. It is an absolute banger. Times, I think the designs they have now are expanding because they're starting to, I know they just did the Lone Star collaboration with Zachary, which is a great knife. Luckily, I got my buddy A to Z to look at that, and he instantly bought it because the knives are just that good. But I'm going to go real quick while y'all are still here. Go to YouTube. Because if y'all are like me and like watching knives being made, there's nothing that Very Good does making a knife that there's not video of it being done and him talking about why it's done that way. And so I'm going to share the screen one more time. So their YouTube channel's got some regular, good videos where you can kind of get to know Jacob and his philosophies and stuff and his knives. These are kind of some precursors to drop, showing off some knives. But what I love are these little shop videos, and y'all are probably going to see an ad because I don't buy US or YouTube Premium. I'm just going to skip ahead here and show you the type of content that this is. All right. Why am I getting lag? Because I'm getting, you know why that's going slow? I'll tell you.
Welcome in. Coming back to watch this all over again. Happy to have you. I'm going to turn the vacuum on. We're going to get started.
One guy, one shot.
So today we're grinding the handles down.
So what you'll notice is, I don't know if he does it all the time, but Jacobs works with a cart of knives when he does these videos, and he's taking them through whatever step, and they're not all the same knife. So
thanks to this waterfront hotel on booking.com.
They sneak me an ad. I'm going to mute that so I can skip it. But so he'll work with a whole cart of knives, and why does it take us so long? There we go. And they're different knives, but when you watch the precision, and he says that it's just because he's done it so much. He respects every one of those machines because all of them could cut you to pieces. But his finishing work, his grinding work, he's got a couple knives there, and watch me go. That's just sand. Let me see. Let me get somewhere. I mean, these knives guys are really next level. And he's doing probably 12 or 13 at a time, maybe less. But then he'll move. I don't know let's see if we go to a different station here.
I was going to turn the vacuum on, but I don't think so.
So now, what are we doing? Sheaths?
Okay.
So anyway, you can basically not only get a cool knife, you can watch exactly
Last
how.
one, and then we'll go to the sandblaster.
We're going to blast some stuff.
You can see in there, but I can barely see in there. I need to change the screen protector. The screen protector, the glass protector.
I urge you guys, and I won't spend too
Really
much
nice,
time here,
rough
but I urge
fluff
you guys to watch some of
texture.
these shop videos. Let me pull up one more.
Okay. So again, I don't want to hit the sides on these, just these ones, but I will hit the spine.
There's the grind work is what I find the most cathartic to watch, but his finish work, there's so many steps. And the thing that he talks about in one, when he does his chamfers on his little router table, I mean, very good stuff. Where's this knife handle finishing? Let me find some real quick. Hold on. Live. So if you go to his lives, they're all shop lives. So the titles tell you what process you're going to see, right? So handles, so blade grinding. I like watching him grind. And that's a 2 hour and 36 minute live of him talking, going through grinding his blades and how and why. And you can see the way that he does it, and with the precision at which it's done, which to me is kind of, next level. But what do I know? Except that my computer is slower than shit. And I know it's not Richard because he's on Starlink. I know what it is. It's trying to load 3 hours of a live stream.
Join Planet Fitness for $1 down
while deciding what ad to serve me. Sorry, guys. This is going to be worth it, though. And then we're going to get into, like ghost stories. So there's this tray full of stuff. 1, 2,
We're
3,
live.
4,
What's up,
5,
everybody?
7, 8, 9, 10. That's about 20 knives.
Hope you're all having a fantastic day. I'm Jacob with Very Good Knife Company, and for those of you who are coming back to watch this over again, welcome in. So I've got to finish up what I started earlier on the live stream.
So he doesn't just do it. He tells you what he's doing, so you see what process is happening. So
I knew it would kind of be short, and I was hoping that I would get done with that step, but I did not. I've got 2 more to grind here to get the 36 grit anyway, Heritage. And I'm set up and ready to go. I also got through,
if you look at
the round 2 of the ADCR.
If you look at those thick blanks he just showed, he will take everything off of there with that belt that doesn't look awesome. So that's what we'll fast forward to here in just a second.
2 Heritage. These guys are surface ground now, and they're nice and flat.
Not another
Using the internet shouldn't be confusing.
All right.
It should be based on how you live. Whether you're a casual streamer, a tech-forward super user.
And as he goes, he's going to show you what he's getting. But we'll just watch this one. If you guys, what I paid attention to or started to notice is I used to watch a lot of Jacob sharpening videos, and I watched Kyle sharpen a lot. Kyle Coonley, Klingenweks sharpening, and they've got this certain precision with their arms. Y'all have watched that before, where it's almost like they're on a pivot, keeping angles and doing all that. And if you watch how Jacob goes across his belts when he does hollows versus flats, I mean, his arms are moving almost like riding a bike, but he's been doing it a long time. Still, to me, it's impressive to watch the precision with which he keeps that constant away. Because he's having to keep that. I mean, that's grinding right there, guys. If you don't believe me, look at the trash can full of metal. Again, these to me are so fascinating because I've seen several of the finished products, and to see all the steps and the different belts and the different processes to get the finishes to what I'm looking at now on my table and looking at these here, it's impressive. I urge you guys to watch. Let's couple of forwards because you get a hologrind, and then we'll. With the precision, the clean grinds are absolutely perfect. And Jacob probably won't. Maybe he would. He's a perfectionist too. But very good knife company. One of my favorite fixed blade makers, and definitely one of the best that I've seen out there. So y'all check them out. Check them out often because I'm noticing more and more designs popping up there. Many more designs. But I don't know if I've got enough light to get. Maybe you can see some better. So if you look at that plunge grind, and that's an iPhone, unfortunately. And then you've got probably not 45, because it might be 45, but you've got two chamfers right there and right there on the Ricasa. And then when you look at the tang, the spine, the choil, there is not, I mean, it's baby butt smooth. And the carbon fiber or the micarta has a nice, and the Grip Tech has a nice, you've got a little bit of texture there. The carbon fiber, the fat carbon fiber is, pops. So this wasn't going to be a very good knife company live stream, but I think it's a great one to talk about because they are definitely the shit. And Donzo, for you guys that don't know, and I know all of you know, but I've got Donzo over here. And his company is Bless Knives. And he's made fixed blades. He doesn't talk about them. One of the favorite knives that I saw of his was a little fixie. But he has a innate, like, I don't know if it's a Faustian deal he made, but his ability to eyeball things within superhuman tolerances is unheard of because he does all of this stuff with very, very basic tools and a lot of skill. And if you ever get a chance,
Then obvious, it's ominous. Garage is the fan.
That'll strike me. But if you ever get a chance to experience a Blessed knife, and they're more and more coming out every day, they are something else. Show you some more finished ones. Said Stevie's got the Wu-Tang one. Check this out. That's a prototype. But the only thing that Donnie does not fabricate, if I'm not mistaken, is the hardware. I think everything else, I know the first Donnie, what'd you do to scotches? Was it a lock bar insert that you made? Yeah, you made a lock bar insert that you did by hand and put in there. But the tolerances in them are next level. There's Donnie. and his brother. That was at Blade Show. Donnie sold out at Blade Show. But again, the quality with which he delivers knives and the way with which he does it, every bit as impressive in just a different way. I mean, it's just gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. And that's hand finished. And if I'm not mistaken, he makes that clip out of a piece of whatever the material is, because it's not hardware. That one's Crewware 65 HRC. Very, very, very cool shit. I'm going to drop, I know y'all all follow Donnie, but for any of you that might not, subscribe to him and follow him on Instagram to keep up with what he's doing, because it's really, really cool. And I know he's doing more and more of it, so he's only going to be doing it better and better. He's one to watch. Yo, what is up? 1931 Leatherworks. Terry, what's happening, brother? Good to see you, man. Lord Needham, what is up? We were talking about Lord Needham today. Richard and I were. Hey, and this is what we were talking about. If anyone is looking for any of these things, I've traded and done business with 2 or 3 people, Paul Mills and Lord Needham, and my grails and a couple others, but several of my grails came from Lord Needham, and he's a great person to buy knives from, because you'll get a good deal and you'll get a Prince custom. I mean, you'll get some wonderful stuff. So hit him up on Instagram. If you're not following Lord Needham on Instagram, he's one of my also favorite posters. When I say posters, not like you hang on your wall that looks like Farrah Fawcett. I'm dating myself by saying that. But he takes really good pictures. He has some really good, cool shoe collections. He dresses sharp dressed man. You see him in his pictures, but give him a follow too. I'm going to go to his page real quick. Stop screen, share screen. I won't keep us here long. Hey, Kyle. Are you in here? Let me he might not be in here yet. Let me take this off the screen. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing well. What's going on?
We're just talking. I was telling them we were about to look at, I'm going to show Lord Needham's page real quick. Hold on. Because Lord Needham just put some knives up for sale. Did you see that? And he's one of the few in the community that I've bought knives from. And I want you to look what he's looking, if anybody's looking for homes for. Hold on, let me find it. One of them's a Prince Custom. Did you say you were interested in a Prince Custom, or was that somebody else?
I've had one in. They're nice. I don't
Here you go.
I don't know that I'd buy one.
I bet you want that JWK Gunslinger V1.
Not unless I'm getting paid for it.
I'm joking. I did talk about that. I was going around YouTube today, and I didn't realize, Kyle, what's funny is I'm such an idiot. I saw Bob's thing that Ben was on there, and it said Scuffle with Ben Belka, and I just thought, oh, this is going to be juicy. I didn't realize that was the name of the knife till somebody in chat told me that they were talking about that knife.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, and Donnie, Donnie, don't you have that on Instagram where you've got the video of you carving that in by hand? Impressive stuff.
What's up, Josh, Richard, Ellis?
And before that, we had Jacob and Mrs. Jacob were in here. And that last name I can't pronounce of Jacob's, it's a sweet, like a sweet, if I read that right. But we looked at some of his stuff. He had a big drop tonight. Still got some stuff over there. But I was I didn't watch the whole thing, but it looks like it was a really good take care, buddy. Have a great night, my man. But Ryan Ellis, what is up, dude? Selling out in about 4 seconds today. Are we not going to talk about the selling out?
He's just being a crybaby.
Hey, by the way, Ryan, I was late, but you and Shane both have links in y'all's group chat. I sent it when I started this. So feel free to jump on, buddy. Oh, the Lamia drop. They're still selling out that fast, huh? Because he's got his capacity's gone up, hadn't it, Kyle, and what he's able to produce?
That I don't know.
I mean, I don't know why you would want. I guess if you had twice as many, you could have sold them in 8 seconds. But again, I've never had a conversation with Alex, so I've never had a issue with Alex. Not that I would if I had a conversation with him. You hear things about him, but to me, he seems like a very helpful, nice guy, and he seems to have his shit together in manufacturing.
He's just very to the point. He's very
direct.
Yeah, and sometimes comes across as brash, but
that's that's how many.
Dude.
Andrew, what is up? Lucky Dog Knife Company.
I need to figure out where the heck I put my.
This is a Lucky Dog Knife Company River Dog. These are, you can think of them as traditional pocket knife inspired designs made as pocket fixed blades. And I'm just really impressed with this line. Thinking about getting a guard dog, which is the only one I don't currently have. Because as a back pocket carry, got another one out here. This is the one I probably carry the most. The smallest might be too small for some of you, but it's a 4.75 inch knife called the Bulldog with a little ram's foot blade. Talk about a utility knife, a cat food slaying, cardboard destroying. Handmade by David Mary Customs in Canada. Designed by Andrew. Nice micarta handle. This one's an AEBL steel. You can also get, what is it, 15N20? What do we decide that other tool steel is?
Yeah, 15N20 is a tool steel.
Yeah, and that's, so you've got a choice there if you want AEBL or if you want carbon steel, 15N20. But very, very cool knives. I'm smitten with them. I think Richard Hopkins smitten with them. I know he's picked up, I think, 2 now. But a lot of everybody likes small fixed blades. I learned something. I've had Richard as a visitor, Kyle, for a few days, and we've been going through each other's knives. And I think Richard has more fixed blades than me.
Yeah.
What he carries them in, you know what an Apache case is, a 3800, right? Where we all keep our knives in.
Right.
He's got one that has just the bottom piece of foam in it and all his little knives laying in there. And it feels like there's a body quartered in there when you carry it. Right. I mean, it has to weigh 75 pounds. So it's a 38, and it's not all of them. He's also got stores them in other places, but his main place of storing them is he's got a 3800, and he's just got them layered in there really neatly, but it's full to the top. So when you close it, it depresses the foam, and it weighs a ton. But he's got some bad ones. The one I'm going to review late tonight, they're actually 2 knives. There's a company called, hold on. Have you ever heard of Fire Hardened Blades, Kyle, or anybody in chat? Their logo's FHB, but it's Fire Hardened Blades. They're a USA maker, small batch maker.
No.
This is their Egress, a little EDC knife, and this is their Duchess. I think they might have one more model, but they're Magna Cut, super sharp, with those nice contour G10 handles, smooth spine, and priced very reasonably. I forget the city they're made in. The sheaths are great. This is the Duchess. I really like this knife. But FHB, Fire Hardened Blades is the name of the company. They got a website, and this will be the first time I review them or do an overview on him. I've been reading about him, learning about his time in the knife world, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's encouraging to see a lot of people banging out cool knives.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to talk to you about that later. Just had a something show up in the mail today.
Oh, really? Sweet. I saw you had it taken off there. Did it come from Nashville?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Henry G.
What's up, Henry? Cliff, whatever one I miss. Yeah, but there's more to that story.
Cool. Well, Kyle's got the TS Prof where the angle guide actually mounts to the sharpening rod. So talk about a precision system. You don't have to, it's there. The Ember and the Duchess, what did I call it? Did I call it the Egress? I told Richard I'd definitely call it the Egress because I called it early. Let me pull them up. Fire. So here's their website. Well, I think it's that one guy. But see how but then the knives are the Ember, which is the little EDC one, $185 for a little Magna Cut G10. Sweet little knife. And then the Duchess is right at $200.
Hey, Cliff, I would recommend you getting 1/4-inch bits. Avoid the tiny micro ones. There's not very many of them that are made of good quality, and the 1/4-inch bits aren't that much bigger, and you can get all types of good drivers for that. So, what's up, Space Ghost?
The only place I think a micro bit would come in handy, and I've got one. I'm not used it for this, but you know those clips that have the split clips where you have to get your bit driver down through the clip's got a split in it to get the screw to go in the side.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't own any like
Well,
that.
my T6s rarely ever fit in there. As a matter, the Hogue Deca that I did a scale swap for Jim for last night, I could barely get the bit in there. I have quarter drivers and bits. Yeah, quarters. I like quarters too.
Yeah. It's just for the actual quality of the bits, there's not very many that are the micros that are well made. That's why I was saying that.
And you found some that you like better than Weehaw, right? Weehaw's like your third.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Weira and I like Fellow better than I do Weehaw. But Weehaws are better than majority of them that aren't even hardened.
Right. What I did, because I wasn't aware of the other ones, but like I was finding my T6s and my T8s were the ones that would get wear. So I just bought off Amazon, I think 20 of each. So I've got Weehaw bits coming out the yin yang. If anybody needs a T6 or T8, hit me up.
I mean, these are definitely more expensive than the Weehaws, but I mean, they're really good. But
it's like stones. It's like a sharpening stone. You can buy an inexpensive one, or you can buy one that's going to last a lot longer. That's going to cost more.
Yeah, there's one of the Fellows, an extra
single bit.
Yeah, T8, and there's a T9.
So
I'm sorry, a T8 as well too. But yeah,
how much would each one be approximately for a single?
Anywhere from like $250 to like $7.
Weehaws are about that. I mean, are they priced because of the size, or they make different hardness levels?
No, they're they're all, the pricing is based off of like the cone you get, the actual type. There's some that are meant for torque.
Gotcha.
You know, I've been actually liking the Torx Plus, the IP8s. Those get a little better purchase than the regular T8s.
Are they the ones that have the little hole in the center?
No, that's
Okay.
that's the security bits, security Torx.
So what was the one you were just talking about, and what's a little different about it?
Torx Plus, it has the spines. And go sit down in there. It seats a little bit better. Let me see if I can pull it up again.
So instead of them just being flat, it's got a little flare to it.
I don't know if it'll show up on camera or not, but let me see if I can get this out of here.
Yeah, I'll make you big. What's up, Space Ghost? How are you, man? Good evening, Todd Carr. I've got more drivers than I will ever need.
So
let me make you big. Hold on.
I don't know how well this is going to show up. And let me see if I can get something.
I forgot
the backing on there. That's not going to work. There. So if you see on the, there we go.
Yeah.
On the actual ridges there, they run deeper. So they go further down. And they actually
gotcha. So when you say down towards the 1/4 inch part or deeper
correct.
Into the
deeper down this way. So they sit, there you go. You can see that a little better. They sit in there deeper and they get a little better purchase. And then also up top there, you can see those. Well, maybe not.
Is it really flat or has it got a little?
No, it's got like, so that spine that comes in, that's like where those cutouts are, the opposite sides run down, so it just grabs better. And
like you say, less chance for it to slip, which is where you have problems.
So like if I put it in here, when it sits, there's basically no wiggle. I mean, there's not like, you don't have the, a lot of times you put a bit in there and you got it.
Right, because as it bottoms out, it's getting a little bit more snug in there.
Right, so this one, it sits in there and it's got a tiny, but virtually almost no, like you can see, like I'm not really being able to turn that at all without actually tightening it. So this gives me, like I was having issues with some of the Weehaws not lasting very long, because if you put too much torque on them, they will grab.
They'll bend. They'll turn like kind of like a fan or a jet engine. So the little fins get turned.
Yeah, these hold up. These are, I want to say those are like $3 or $4 piece. The fellows are a little bit cheaper.
So they're not twice the price of Weehaws. I mean, to me, that's $6,500.
It depends on what you get, and especially if you like buying them in bulk makes a difference. But like, so here's my T10 that I got. I ended up getting that one, and that was the only finish, and that's a little bit longer of one as well too.
Do you like the longer ones? See, I always find I can't control the longer ones as well. I've got some that are long.
No, like it still seats fine in there, so it's not an issue. It works.
I'm just talking about how far it extends from my driver. It's that's kind of a left-handed thing.
That won't fit in there, but I'm saying, that's not a problem doing that. But the was what they had available for that one, and then I can actually pull up the website.
Is that a different class? The gold class? Is that like the next level up? I'm gonna make you smaller again.
Let me see if
Mimo, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, dude. Welcome. We're looking at Torx bits. Joe Isabella.
What's up, Marco? Buddy? What's up, Todd? Henry, if I didn't say hello. Mimo. Jojo. Let me see if I can pull up the bits.
Because you can't get these at Amazon, right? You get these at a fastener place.
Yeah, let me. Okay, so size. Yeah, those. Let me share my screen. They're not bad price. So the Wera, the 1-inch bit, the normal standard size small bit is $388, and then the fellow is $420. So that one's actually a little bit more expensive. But you can get them in different ones. So like if I add on they're the same price for the T8s. I mean, and the T6s for the and those are the Torx Plus. You could go back. You could do just standard Torx.
Why would anybody choose a standard Torx if the Torx Plus exists?
Some people, they're just used to what they like. So T8, and you got all different types. You got then the Weavers, the regular ones, $1.66.
Yeah, to me that's
$1.59 for that one. Now, if you get the ones like this one that are meant for torsion, that are actually used like with, power or impact, then they're a little bit more.
And I guess because the metal's different, the tooling's different. Because I think the only thing that band just designates that it's for a torque wrench, right? That green band that was going around it, or
that's just their style they put on there, and then they'll label them by color. So, but yeah, so even the basic ones are $1.66, $1.59, and they're much better than
a wee haw. So even if you went with a basic, you'd be ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I like those much better, and they tend to. I'm not saying they can't strip and they can't wear out, but it lasts longer. So I tend to shoot for those when I can.
Interesting, Todd. So I'm assuming an impact bit has to be stronger in some way. Would that not translate to it being stronger even if you used it in just all around harder, or not? Is it because of the vibration of the rapid shifting? I don't know how metal shears.
I don't know the science behind that, but yeah, typically your impact rated are going to be stronger for vibration and side load, probably.
I got you. So what I found interesting about, and this is not a anti-Jack Wolf, it's just my brain still thinking about it. What I thought was interesting was how he talked about a group or a conglomerate of people buying steel. And to me, I would think if the people that are kind of in the know in the steel don't know of China buying MagnaCut, if they were buying it in larger through a conglomeration, they would be much more likely to know that they're buying it or not buying it.
Well, you would also think if that were the case, there would be receipts.
If it was, and I don't know what the downside to say, I'm going to shut all these people up. I would get glory of going, all right, buddy, they might have faked my PDF that I've got here, but this is the purchase order. This is where it was shipped. This is where it left from, which would be somewhere, some mill, I guess, on the East Coast.
The difference is these guys, I'm not going to speak for all, but I would say a majority of them don't care about the steel. So therefore, they're not going to make that anymore.
Well, and Richard and I, when we were watching it, talked about this. I'm not going against anything you or Shane say, but when Ben, I did see some point, and this is not any reason not to offer something better, but when he said, the knives I've always collected had been 1095, because they're old slip joints. So maybe his thought is he wasn't expecting the small group of people that are, still, maybe a lot of people don't, like you say, don't mind because they're used to a tool steel, and any super steel by comparison is going to perform better.
Well, in contrast to that, then you don't promote it as a modern interpretation of a slip joint that's fancy and has upgraded steel. It's not going to be.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I noticed, and again, I consider Ben a friend. I would not have on my website CPM unless I was 100% sure.
Correct.
Somebody wouldn't have had to tell me. I mean, because that's the kind of thing that, even if it's a totally innocent mistake, if it happens to, be what it is,
Hence why I phrased my question the way I did.
And it got the address. Well, the funniest part, and I guess it's going to go there, but when you asked the first question, which was a softball question, and Bob put it up that had nothing to do with it, the way Ben's face changed because he'd been talking about something because he saw you in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just, to me, I was playing what's going on in his mind. I know he's just sitting there waiting for the next one to come across.
I thought I was very polite about it.
100. There was
I also said thank you for answering the question. I just was curious if we could get a definitive answer.
And it's not a gotcha question. It's a curious question.
Correct. It isn't because from information from trusted sources much larger than that business, that the answer is already out there. But the interesting twist to that I don't think a lot of people caught was, if you don't want to release the name of your OEM, but you're saying a conglomerate buys large steels and separates it, that to me is saying that your OEM was within a reasonable radius of all of the other OEMs there,
or one of those OEMs there.
Correct. Or could be one of the OEMs there already, which we pretty much have an idea, but it was just another, it wasn't like it's a super secret one-off that's out in the middle of nowhere. And that was kind of something that early on was kind of, I wouldn't say it was implied, but it was made to be like it's a special place.
Right. It was a boutique place that he didn't want other people. Well, Correct. At first it was a boutique place that he didn't want other people to use. And then he said something that was, things can be true and also not the same at the same time. But there was some validity to him saying, I want people to see the knives and judge them based on the Jack Wolf knife, not based on who made it. Well, that's true. But also, if, let's say, Sheldon makes it, I'm going to throw one out there that we know doesn't, and it still looks and performs as good, everybody's got a perception of the Sheldon value that they bring to the market.
Yeah,
so I think it's the two sides of that.
And I don't think they're poorly made knives. I'm not saying that. I just looking for transparency.
And what I think, not to interrupt you, but I'll lose the thought, Kyle, hold your thought. Cause I think if Ben being transparent would not do anything but help any of the naysayers. People aren't gonna go, I told you so. And then, I think if he just said, I've been doing research, cause a lot of people have been asking questions, and this is what I found out. This is all I could get. So, I think that would just be.
Well, and I was biting my tongue. I was trying to be polite, but I also didn't bring up, he was talking early on about him switching from N390 to S90 and wanting to get the best performance out of a knife. Therefore, after his quote unquote research, that it was going to be, it's not a hard use knife, so he'd rather have edge retention than toughness. So he went with S90. Well, that was also the live stream that we kind of had some words, was when I was talking to him about M390 on Kevin's and got into quote unquote a scuffle there. And shortly, within a few months, the production runs changed
to S90. Right.
Correct. And I'm not saying that I was the sole reason, but I definitely was in there, in the ear of that. What I was getting ready to say was Todd's part there. That's what I think people don't realize too, is Crucible doesn't distribute. Crucible only makes the steel. Then it gets sent off to be distributed. So they're not, Crucible themselves is not selling to anybody.
Niagara, or is there somebody else besides Niagara that also does it?
Niagara is the main one because Niagara is close. Niagara had capability, so it made the most sense for them to do it. And from I don't want to claim that because I don't know that for sure, but yeah, there's definitely some. We've already had this discussion about yes, it's possible for have a third party. And Todd, I know you met Niagara. I just was clarifying for everyone else.
I threw the question out there for everybody else, Todd. I wasn't questioning that.
No, I wasn't adding. I know Todd knows that. I just was clarifying for everyone else who always hears Crucible and thinks Crucible. But what I was getting ready to say was where was I going with that? The hell was I talking about?
We were talking about the Magna Cut, and I think you were talking about the going to the S90V after you talked about the M390. And then you were.
I lost my train of thought. I don't know. I'll pick it up.
You were responding to Todd's quote that's on the screen. To read that again and see.
So, yeah, is it possible for
a conglomerate,
a third-party company, an importer-exporter, to acquire the steel from Niagara, export it to this conglomerate, so to speak, in China? Yeah, of course it's possible. That's very doable. There's plenty of ways you could have an LLC, umbrellas, corps, where you wouldn't know where that's going. It could be exported without a problem.
Right.
The issue becomes what you're paying for it wholesale on top of the freight, and then transportation from port to all these different factories cost, because you're talking lots and lots and lots of sheets.
Well, we know that
we're talking massive weight.
That material is going to cost more than a knife would sell for. What I mean is the logistical cost of doing what you just described, those different moves along that logistical chain to get that U.S. Magna Cut from that third party to China and then turned into knives, would cost more, just that process, than the finished knife from China, I would guess.
Yeah, it's not that bad. If
the logistics aren't that bad, I would think that would be.
So here's the thing: if you're going by depends how you ship it. If you ship by air or if you ship by cargo container, more than likely because of the weight you're shipping cargo container. So then you're looking at 1.5 months probably just delivery time. Also you're looking at probably anywhere from $1 to $2 a kilo for shipping costs. And then you're also looking at duties and import fees and stuff as well too. So if you're shipping quite a few shipping containers full of steel, that's going to add up pretty darn quick. I don't know exactly. I have not researched it to know exactly how much a full sheet of steel weighs, but I would guess it's going to be reasonably heavy. So you're looking at probably, I don't know, in a raw weight, probably.
It's tonnage, right?
Well, they go off of just kilograms. So,
gotcha.
You're probably looking at roughly, I don't know, 50 cents a knife blank in shipping. Plus, then you look at your import and duty fees. So, but it's also the time as well, too. No, Paul, they have not offered Magna Cut.
Yeah, Paul, I was getting ready to highlight that because he's never offered Magna Cut. Only M390 and S90V, except for on the newer series, they're 14C. And I didn't understand that either, but we can talk about that in a second. The price difference between, I thought I heard him say 160 at one point, and I thought I heard Bob DeMarco say it's a $69 knife, the one he carried.
So let me finish that. So yeah, that doesn't seem like a lot, but that adds up over time. But it's more of the time frame that is the issue for production costs versus sitting around waiting for steel to be there. And you'd have to buy in such bulk to make it worthwhile. Why would you do that when you have the capability and actually more capability of making steel there than we do here. You don't have the same EPA regulations.
Look at Todd's comment as you talk about that.
Yeah. They don't have the EPA regulations to deal with it. They don't have the labor costs. They don't have any. They can make it for pennies on a dollar of what we're making the same steel for. Now, they have the recipe and they can get it to the point where, I shouldn't say they have the ingredients. They don't have the recipe. They can get it to where it'll show up the same under a spectrometer, but it is never performed the same as actual crucible steel through various multiple test cuts from all different types of people. That tells you that something is going wrong in the actual process of it. So
yeah, or they don't have it dialed in.
So do I think that they don't make good steel all the time? No, their steel is below optimum, but is it horrible steel? Is it like going and buying an 8CR gas station knife? Absolutely not. It's way better than that. So we're splitting hairs here when we get down to the brass tacks. Yeah, if you get something like them an S90 and it's run at 59 to 60, 61 top, I've never seen anything go over 61 from over there, then yeah, it's going to be okay. Is it going to be the best or optimal? No. So take it with a grain of salt and understand that it's not the worst thing in the world, but if you're looking for the best, that's not going to be it.
And I think that's one side of the issue. I think the other side is the misleading of putting and maybe they just think CPM is what it's called, but using those brand names, if it's not in fact the brand name, to me, it's kind of problematic when American companies are doing it.
Yeah, but that's what they don't care about, cloning and copying. We've already had that. We've already been down that rabbit hole.
No, but I'm talking about like Ben having it on his website, and it probably is.
Agree.
But that's what I'm saying. I would say that that's an issue more so than it, because when we talk about performance on a slip joint, like Maddie said, and I thought that was I thought the way y'all's comments were coming back and forth were just hilarious. But when Maddie was talking about the soft cheese, and if you think about the differences in that performance, most of us aren't cutting thousands of feet of rope. And I would think that China's first goal was to get the spectrometers to match, to get the steels to look the same.
Correct.
But I would think that they're also wanting, they have a goal that they do want the performance to be up to par or better than, because they compete with us on a lot of levels, and one of them is doing stuff better and cheaper.
I don't think that they care about performance. I think that they care about it being good enough to sell knives.
Right.
It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be able to be sufficient to be able to continue selling knives. And that's their business model with everything. It doesn't have to be good. It has to be good enough to sell to people. Like if you look at a lot of their manufactured items, they have progressed in the last 20 years where if you used to say something was made in China, it used to mean it was complete trash. Now it means it's good enough, but it doesn't mean it's the best. It just means it's cheaply made and you can get it at an affordable price.
Right. You can get technology at a cheaper price. It might not last as long as, you get what you pay for in all truths.
But there's a lot of, to be fair, in the same sense, there's a lot of American-made stuff that doesn't last like it used to either, because people aren't willing to pay at this day and age for that quality.
Absolutely.
So, Maddie, so give me a second. I'll get to that. The thing about, and I don't want people to always take it as hate. It's not hate. It's just trying to get people to represent what they're selling for what it actually is, and to try to push companies to do the best they can and be reasonable. The fact that he's making knives for people, cool, great. Is a product nice? Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say it's a bad knife, but knowing the cost, knowing what goes into it, knowing where the money goes as far as companies and all that stuff, I don't want to support it. And that's my personal, Stevie, you calm down. You don't even respond to me anymore. Just kidding, buddy. I know you've been busy. You've been traveling. So I just want people to know what they're getting into. And that's the main goal of everything. I said this other night. I am a steel snob because of what I do. And that's solely a very small niche group of the community. And I totally get that. I don't expect people to feel like I feel. I just want to get people information so that way they can make an educated purchase.
But don't belittle the fact that what you do, because not everybody's a doctor, but to get an opinion from a doctor on something that's a health issue is legitimate, usually fact-based. If you're sharpening steels every day, you're feeling the differences on a daily basis. I mean, granted, not everybody sharpens their knives or wants the sharpest knife, but if you're feeling a difference consistently, I think that's puts you in the expert category as much as any. And I just think, I don't know what the downside, if it was me and I would doing the research, so I would, and I found out, no, we've got these plants. Evidently, Saul Glacier's been over there and toured those plants because he talked about them in detail, right? So it's not like you couldn't. I think Ben Banter, not Ben Banter, what's his name? NAF company dude.
Yeah, it's Ben Banter.
He just had a big trip over there, and I'm sure he saw a lot of those plants. So what I would do is I would say, guys, to keep the cost of the stuff reasonable, I'm making sure that we're using the best Chinese made MagnaCut. And then me as a customer of that OEM, I would try to help them because they probably want to learn how to do it better and get it better.
He doesn't give a shit either.
I know, but at some point I would get tired of answering the questions because more and more people are answering the questions, or the market's getting saturated.
The market is way oversaturated. It's not about, people are to the point where they want to sell knives, and that's why they're flooding the market with so many knives. They don't give a shit what it is. They want you to keep buying knives, period.
I mean, that's how the business model has to exist for it to.
Back to Maddie's question. There are specific cheese knives out there because of, like you said, as you push into it, you gain drag because as of that grind, as it goes in, it creates a wedge. You get closer to the bottom, that becomes tighter, and you actually get more drag. Like if you think of it as in like woodworking terms, when that happens, you actually can get kickback. So what you're looking for is the thinnest blade possible. And some of the cheese knives almost look like a coping saw or like a fret saw, where they're open behind the blade. So there's zero
drag.
There's zero drag and there's zero wedge effect. So behind the blade, there's nothing. It's a very, very small blade. It looks like almost like a jigsaw blade. And behind that, there's nothing. It just has an open back.
Like an U shape.
Correct. And it'll slide through it and cut very easily. That's where you create the less drag and the better slicing ability. So look for something like that. They make them out there. I don't have a link or a name brand or anything like that, but I know they make them.
Or you can get a Fibonacci grind that cuts through anything without binding. That was a joke.
But yeah, so if you're familiar with a coping saw or a fret saw, it's the same principle. It's a very thin blade. It goes through it.
That's the only cheese knives. Like when we used to get the cheese trays, that had the little dome. Those are the only cheese knives. I've seen the little ones that look like butter knives that are no good, but I'm going to show you a picture of what he's talking about.
So here, I'll grace you with my horrible drawing skills.
Wow. Going through all the Google images, there are very few that have the one I'm thinking of. Have I aged out that much? I have not found one that looks like that what I'm envisioning. Because I'm envisioning something that's very similar that you cut balsa wood with, but it doesn't have serrations. I don't see it. Let me see your drawing. I can't.
Okay. So there's your typical flat grind. Okay. Both sides will come to a direct point. As that enters the block of cheese, it enters here. It's going to gain room, but as it starts to progress further and further, it rides up that blade. Well, that becomes thicker, right? So now this portion is trying to push through that opening versus here's a thinner blade. As you get further up, that is still much thinner to push through that. And then if you get a blade like I was talking about, that's super thin, it's almost the same thickness from top to bottom. So it's going to create a straight push to that cheese, and it's not going to bind.
And because it never gets wider because it's such a narrow little blade. Amazon will have one because I think they're the less expensive ones that have that design. Man, the cheese knife game has changed, dude. Or tell me if I'm
Dawson. You got to remind me. Send me a message, and I'll create something for you, buddy.
I did not send that email today. You just reminded me something I forgot to do. I apologize. Can y'all see these? See, I'm seeing a lot that have holes in them, but what I'm thinking about looks more like a jigsaw.
Correct.
And it used to come like maybe I need to go cheese kit. Let me try something. Hold on. Cheese knife kit. Man, I'm not seeing it, dude.
Paul, the wedge separates, but the wedge also is what makes it stick. Correct. Right there you go. There you go, Maddie.
And it's almost like a guitar string, like Todd was saying. It's like a guitar string. It looks like a G string stretched between a U.
There you go.
Yeah, that's not even a blade. That's wire. That's just a piece of guitar wire. But then this one kind of here is weird. What do you think about that? It says nonstick blade, but that looks like it's going to have the same issues.
Yeah, that's not. It looks more like a bread knife.
It is a cheese knife, my friend. The Cutex cheese knife. Because Amazon told me so.
Maddie, do you want the best cutting cheese knife, or do you want to sit there and have something in 2025 and then bitch about it? You pick.
Hey, look, a Thug cheese knife.
It's got speed holes even.
It's got a unique patented blade that looks like it would fan the cheese the opposite way you wanted it to go. Yeah, I'm going to get off Amazon, but I can't believe I only saw one U-shape because that's the only cheese knives I used to see as a kid. Anytime you'd go to a Junior Grace or whatever dinner, there'd always be one of those little cheese knives. And all these look like, look at that bad boy.
That is 100%.
There you go, Maddie.
That's 100% accurate, Maddie.
That's what Maddie needs. That's only $16.99.
Just a grater?
No, it's a cheese.
Oh, now I see it. Okay. From that side, it looked like it was just a.
So you can even lay out your angle so you can get the perfect slice, Maddie.
Yep.
It's kind of like the TS. It's a TS Prof of cheese cutters.
That's kind of like what you would have like a deli, slicing on the deli.
Yeah, that's something that I've cut. I cut fruit, but I don't cut a lot of cheese. No, I'm probably fart right now, but I don't cut a lot of the cheese. It cuts cheese and meats. Link it up. It's coming to you, buddy. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Bear with me, Maddie. I'm dropping you a link. There it is. That's a different maker. I found another one.
Terry posted a link too, but for a cheese knife.
Now I'm seeing a lot of them that are that guillotine. Since I clicked on that one, I'm seeing a lot of these that have like the paper cutter thing. Check this one out.
Be right back.
Go ahead. Check this guy out right here. That's got some extra little cheese knives if you wanted to turn into like a sculptor. If you wanted to cut your cheese and then do some sculpting. But no matter, the one that I saw is this one right here. Whoops. This is an affiliate link because I don't know if I just copy that link, how big it's going to be. Give me my link. So that is a cheese slicer that also cuts meat.
Yeah. That's a very well thought out product.
Edgy, what's up, brother? Hey, I told Ryan when he got in here, I threw you guys a link right when I started because I forgot earlier today.
What's up, Shane? Shane.
Shane came up and visited with Richard, Carl, and I on, was it yesterday? Wednesday.
Did you tell me you got a picture of Richard standing next to Shane?
We did not take any pictures.
That would have been a phenomenal picture.
That would have been a phenomenal picture. That would have been a phenomenal picture. But no, we had a great time. I mean, it was we went to that burger place. I forget what it's called. Jack something that Shane liked so much. And he thought I was telling Richard and Carl if they like art, they ought to go check out Low Mill. And Shane thought that I meant I wanted us all to go to Low Mill afterwards. And he was like, dude, I don't want to go to Low Mill. I was like, dude, I'm not going to Low Mill. I didn't mean that. What do you think? You and I walking into Low Mill? Big Jim, what's up?
That's funny.
Good to see you, buddy. Let me stop sharing that crap. Let's see what what's going on Instagram. We won't scroll far because I've noticed I get about 10 posts of knives and then it starts reading my mind. There's the Scotch and things. They're going live at 10:30 tonight. Scotch and Donzo. I'm gonna steal.
Did I show you that, John? Came in?
Oh, let me stop. Let me go over.
No, you're okay. You don't have to stop. I just was going to show you that real quick. Got some more stroppy stuff.
Where'd you find that?
Hapstone.
Okay, that's what you were telling me. Are you seeing that? Has that gone up a lot because of tariffs?
No. I mean, it's gone up some, but not a ton. This comes from the UK anyways.
Hey, B Shady.
What's up, B Shady? But I ordered it on the Friday and got it Tuesday. So
you can watch them on replay, Maddie. And Shane, my mom even had nice things to say about you. You put off a warm aura. I told her that it's just an act, that it comes from just years of childhood and adult trauma that you learned to mask your shortcomings.
Did your mom call him a bitch?
No, we walked out of the house. So Shane comes in, we sit down, we chat for a second, we walk out. I lock my door, leave my keys in the house. So my mom lives right across the cemetery. So before we left, I said, "Are you busy?" She was like, "No." I was like, "Do you mind running me a key over here so I can open the house?" Because she's got a house key to my house because she takes care of the cats when I'm out of town. It used to be cat, now it's cats. Then I got a funny story. But so we were here for 5 minutes, and when she pulled up, she met everybody.
Well,
She drives a Miata convertible, so she kind of caught their attention when you see an 80-year-old woman in a convertible, tricked out Miata.
so that means my mom is one up on your mom, Javon, because my mom has called Shane a bitch.
That is awesome. Well, see, mom didn't get to speak, but your mom's probably had more conversations with Shane. They literally just said hellos because she was bringing me the key to run up and go. 100% truth, as you said. So, funny story. So, I told you I've got this.
That's funny. That's a deep cut right there. Look at
What's
this.
that? Oh, yeah. That is a deep cut. She makes that Miata look full size. What's so funny is she hates getting in and out of it. And when I ride with her, that thing is so unconventional. I mean, it is too low even for me. Because getting in and out of it, you really need a pull-up bar. But so this little feral cat's come and hung out with us called Puck. And he's just been hanging out inside sleeping. I'm thinking, that's kind of wild for him to be in feral for so long to just stay inside. Well, yesterday afternoon, he kind of had this weird look in his eye, and he's got big cat balls because he's feral. And he walked out about 4:00, and he didn't come back. Well, this morning, about 7:00, he comes stumbling up the stairs, smells like cigarette smoke, bourbon, and he's got glitter on his fur.
What?
I don't know where he'd been, man. I'm telling you, I've got to get his balls snipped. I don't know if he's at a strip club.
He's out partying?
Yes. I mean, all night, dude. I mean, he showed up like at 7 wanting breakfast. Looking rough. Not looking like he'd been fighting, but definitely looking rough.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's sleeping now. So I'm going to try to put him in quarantine at night because the last thing I want, I've got to get him to the vet. And I hate to do that, but it'll make him happier too. That's what I tell myself. And I think, would it make you happier, John? I'm like, fuck no, but I can't think like that. I got to be a responsible pet owner. Puck is your spirit animal, Edgy. I didn't say it. I'm glad you did.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Puck, who doesn't really come to people. Carla and Richard were sitting on the couch, and Puck voluntarily jumped up between them. And they're cat people. They've had cats. But I told Richard, I said, he was like, oh, look, he likes me. I was like, dude, he likes me. And look at my arms. I mean, he will make you bleed like you haven't bled in a long time. Because he doesn't know the strength of his mouth when he goes to kind of shake you.
Well, so who's going to start the fight first, you or Puck over the scratching post?
Over the scratching post?
Yeah, because we know you like doors, so the scratching post has got to be a close second.
Too short for me. Think about it. Scratching posts are only about 14 inches tall before the next thing goes. Plus, the scratching post, you're missing the point. You don't want the roughness. You don't want to ride bareback. That's why saddles are so comfortable.
Well, I don't know what you do with your Indian pills.
Speaking of Indian pills,
no,
we were having a conversation last night, Richard and I, just about random stuff, because we've been talking for hours, but just random stuff. And we started talking about medical costs, medicine costs in particular. And I talked about when I first got into the program and was going through marriage counseling, I had to go to a doctor to, to get my ADHD meds, my depression meds and stuff like that. And then once my divorce went its way and I started dating somebody else for a few years, the last person I'll probably ever date, because I'm over that. But I'd never been with anybody sober before. So I had performance issues. So I went to my doctor and I was like, hey, dude, this is a situation, blah, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, I bet that's awkward, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, it's real awkward. So he hooked me up with Tadafil, which is Cialis, I think. I was like, awesome. So I run down to Walgreens with the spring in my step to get it filled, right? You know how much that shit is? Cialis?
No clue.
I'll give you break it down into terms you can understand. Per erection, how much would you think it would be? How much do you think Pfizer charges you per erection?
I don't really want to know. That is 100%.
$75.
Richard, that is 100% believable.
$75, dude, is how much each one of those were. So anyway, I had a sponsor, still do, but I'm not active in the program. But so I was telling him, yeah, I've been having these issues because this is about 14 months into sobriety when I was dating her. And I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to pay. And he's like, no, I got you, dude. I got you. And I was like, what do you mean? And he hooked me up with this Indian pharmacy. Kind of weird that we were having drug conversations.
Are we really going down this line again?
Dude, my point was, as I said, Richard, I think I've got those. So I walked back into my closet and I pulled them out. And dude, I've got so many in stash that I'm thinking about dating again. I was surprised at how many I've still got in there. I probably got 100. And they're literally
that'll last the rest of your life.
No doubt. No doubt. But instead of 75 for one, you can get these little, and you buy them in like 26 packs, but a 6-pack's like $6.95. $6.95.
Dawson with the classic.
It should be 69. That's exactly classic. Crush him and snort him. I'll tell you something. A guy I used to work with who was a manager, he was a sales manager, not a digital manager at Spectrum Reach, that he swore by. I've never tried it and can't imagine it working. But have y'all seen that honey they sell at the gas station? Not the rhino pills, but it's these little packets of honey. Looks like a packet of mustard, and it's a enhancement. It's a sexual enhancement. He says that stuff is insane. He swears by it. I mean, he buys it by the case.
Whatever works for you, I guess.
1931 leather works. No, I'm not looking for that, buddy. My whole thing was just getting it to stand to attention again, because it was like, hey, I know now that it was more than just me being with someone for the first time and being sober. The person I was with was a very unique. I'm trying to look for the right word. Diagnosed, complicated, not sure. I think my brain was like, I'm not sure what's going to happen after this. Am I going to get a thank you hug, or am I going to get a knife in the neck? So there was a lot of tension, I think, that probably played into that. So it was probably as psychological as anything else. But the bottom line is, for lazy people like me, if you need the name of an Indian pharmacy, I found my paperwork.
Terry, don't you put that evil on us, Ricky Bobby.
And Vimo, that's funny. And I did learn the differences, and I'm sure you guys know that, but I did learn the differences in Viagra and Cialis. And then the other one, I don't know the main difference, but Cialis, the one that I became.
We don't really need to know, do we?
You might, dude. You might want to perform again one time.
I don't have that problem.
I'm kidding. But the Cialis, you can take it like at 4:00 in the afternoon, and it's there waiting for you when you need it for about 10 to 12 hours. Some cases, 24 hours. The Viagra, you got a window. So you got to, for me, because I'm such a bad planner, I would have to crush it and be able to snort it or pop it in a vein to make it work quick enough. That's why I like the Cialis, because you could just eat one before you went out. And then what's funny though is, even though they were cheap, I'd eat one, go out, we'd go to dinner, and things wouldn't happen. And then you've instantly got resentment. It would have been much more resentment if I was like, man, I wasted $75 on that hard on that didn't happen. But you find yourself pissed off when you waste $4.89 because a hard on should have happened. Sorry to say that, but it's just the truth.
I thought we weren't going down this rabbit hole.
We're out of that rabbit hole. I'm waiting for some conversation to come up. I've got to do show planning. We need to get Edgy to come on, since he's got a link. And we need to get Ryan to come on so he can show us some William Henrys.
Ryan's asleep.
I did get a knife sent to me that's a new design. This is a little bit bigger than the Piranha, but this is a TKL Nautilus in Nitro V.
Mimo,
I like the blade shape. 6 inches.
You didn't like that smooth transition, Mimo?
And then, what else we got to show? That's pretty wild, isn't it?
What is it?
It's a sheath that I colored with acrylic paint just to make it look different. I'm starting to mod sheaths.
Well, look at you go.
No, this is a young guy sent it to me. It's made for a Kaiser harpoon. And I put my little USA made Big Idea Design Company lookout in it because I really like this little knife. It's just a basic little knife, but it's a great EDC knife for me. Hey, I know something that we could did we talk about the video, or I think it might have been Richard and I talking about it. There was a video, I don't think it was before Tuesday. The guy that talked about why you don't need an EDC fixed blade. Well, it's a crazy idea.
No, but if we're showing off knives, I got something to show you.
I'd much rather see that. Let me make you big.
What's up, Richard?
Hey, Carl.
Ooh. OMG. Is that Brother Ellis's?
It's someone's.
Are you sharpening it?
This
or
one,
are you photographing it?
This one I'm getting photographs for.
Would you, if you were asked to sharpen it, would it make you nervous as shit? Or would you just be like, that'd be cool?
I'd do it. It wouldn't bother me.
See, that would terrify me. So what is that a William Henry?
Yes.
It looks much more modern. That's the most modern looking William Henry. And put it in your hand. It looks bigger than the.
No, not really. I mean, it's pretty.
3-inch blade?
This is one of the biggest William Henrys you're going to see, but this one isn't huge.
Is it hammer steel or is it Damasteel?
That's Damasteel. That one is.
Holy smokes, man. I've never seen anything like that.
No, take it back. That one is Mike Norris Raindrop Damascus. 24 karat gold inlays. Desert ironwood burl. 24 karat titanium fittings. And citrine button.
And those are made pretty much by hand?
I don't know about that, but
yeah.
So like here's a normal size one. That's what the majority of most of their sizes are.
Right, which is like that's like a 2.5-inch blade.
Yeah, I mean that's barely. And then this one is like one of the biggest ones.
Those are just both gorgeous. Again, not something because I'm not as much attracted to jewelry or nice knives because I can't afford them for one. But that's awesome, dude. That is amazing. One of the coolest things I saw, and I know we don't talk about it much on this channel, but I watched a Metal Complex video today, top 5, and they were the bougie knives. Did anybody see that? Kyle, there's a company that makes a knife that has an M390 blade coated in gold. And the blade, I'm going to show it here in a second, but people were like, why would they make that? And I think Metal Complex had a good answer just to show off. They're kind of a newer company to show what they can do. But I want to show you. And then have you seen the new Herman where they have the laser process that makes it look like it's got deep etching in the handle, but it's totally flat, and it takes 26 hours sitting under a laser to do each one of those?
Yep. Here's another one, and these are all.
That's an ebony box, isn't it?
Correct. And they're all leather lined.
So $200 box at least. It's probably got the hinges too. That are the piano hinges.
Like the sauce hinges.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the pin to release it. Yeah, this box is absolutely stunning. That one is a one of a kind, one of one.
So the pattern's one of one. The way the knife looks, or the way
the knife is actually one of a kind.
Okay, okay. That is a William Henry. Something I'm just now learning about. William Henry makes guns? Is William Henry the engraver or then the maker, right?
The knife maker.
So, Kyle, range-wise, from your base William Henry to your enthusiast, I know the sky's the limit, but are they in the 5 to 10 range?
You can get some for right around 1,200, all the way up to
2 or 3?
No, 8, 10, whatever.
Oh yeah. The sky's the limit, really. Depending on how much you want on it.
Correct.
I'm gonna fast forward. Y'all talk because I'm back behind the scenes. I'm gonna fast forward to a picture of a knife. I'm not gonna make us watch the video. I wish I could drive YouTube. I wish I knew how to work this shit.
You trying to figure out?
How to work YouTube. Somehow I've jacked myself up. There we go. I'm back now. Let's go. So none of these knives, in all fairness, I liked, except the fact that I can appreciate the fact that somebody makes something. Hey, Metal Complex is live. Jackpot night. Mystery knife giveaway, guys. Be there, be square. He's only got 980 watching. I know if y'all all leave, we can get to 1,000. I'm kidding.
Do you like mother of pearl?
I do like mother of pearl. Are you about to show me something? Because I just came back.
Yeah, I'm getting to. Hang on one second.
All right. And then I'm going to pull up this. I thought he put it out today.
If I could find it, give me 1 second.
Yeah. I'm going by order. I thought I'll go to my history. Hold on. Tell me when you find it, buddy, and I'll come over.
I'm still getting there. Give me a second.
Oh, no rush, no rush. I just found what I was looking for, so I'm going to mute it and queue up the picture I want to show. And everybody in chat, we love you. We're talking to you. We're just talking in our inside voice.
All right, there we go. There's one that I just did.
Let me see. Okay, I love the mother of pearl. I love the blue tile liner, but who makes that knife?
It's William Henry.
Really?
Yep.
So they do make more, muted's the wrong word with mother of pearl, but without all the engraving.
Yeah, more plain.
But that probably costs just as much because I'm assuming that mother of pearl is pretty expensive. Or is that a lesser price?
No, that's definitely it. That's definitely more of the budget ones. And that mother of pearl is gorgeous though. It's like grade A. Let me find a better picture of it for you. I mean, not a better picture, but a picture.
You know, that new Kaiser trestle, which is show me. Oh my gosh. So is mother of pearl basically just sliced pearl, or is it a different material altogether? I'm an idiot when it comes to stuff like that.
I don't know the answer to that.
That's stunning.
Yeah, that is that's more of a, what I would call one of the plain ones. And then this one is one of the, here we go. It's a little bit fancier.
What is that? Some kind of copper mokume or Damascus? What is that on the bolster?
Yeah, that's mokume gone, bolster, desert ironwood handles,
It looks bigger and taller. Is it still a tiny little knife? The slip makes me think it is a tiny little knife.
Yeah, it's a smaller knife, and then that's DLC ZVP steel.
Outstanding, dude. Your pictures look great. Is that pre-production or post-production?
Post on some of those.
All right. So this first one, Kyle, I think you said you've seen this, but this is the Herman. Hold on. And I'll keep it muted. I'll turn until he starts talking
But
about
it's not the model that makes it interesting. It's another element. This is a Herman Mantis, but the Mantis didn't come out in 2025. What was released in 2025 was the test.
Does that look like it's got 3D depth to it?
Yeah, it's a Tesseract pattern.
But it doesn't have any depth. It's totally smooth, he says. Watch this.
Right.
Tesseract laser finish. Now, this finish is literally in multiple ways, it is an optical illusion. Not just because of the 3D looking cubes, but it also gives the illusion of depth. When I made the video on this knife, despite explaining what's going on, those gaps are going to fill up with debris. There is no depth to this. Your eyes will tell.
I see the depth. I mean, my eyes see depth. Y'all's eyes see depth.
It's the shadowing.
He claims that's not. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is. But to me, I mean, I can look at it. It's almost like an MC Escher. If y'all know who that is, when I look at it, I can see it stepping up different ways.
Tell you that there is depth, but there isn't. It is a surface finish. It is a complete and total illusion. It looks like you could drop debris down in there.
I just think that's cool, but that's not the one that's the most ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous.
Yeah, the same as they did those cutting board illusional look 3D, and they're not.
Yeah, that's the one I'm trying to get to. All right, here we go. All right, check this one out.
This crazy coating on there. I think that is super.
I hate that. You know what that is? A rainbow DLC Herman. It looks like a Boker mermaid knife.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
It looks like it belongs in a gas station.
More experimentation with this.
Yeah, and Metal Complex wants more of it. He goes, "Can you picture that in a green or a blue without the blade? Wouldn't that be awesome?" I'm thinking, no.
It's awesome coating for sure. Moving on here to a knife that did not release in 2025, but a version of the knife that released. And I have to talk about this because I did not get a chance to talk about this knife in 2024. That is the Poikilo and Mundus knives.
See how the blade came out and split apart?
Yeah, I've seen that before. Is
but
it innovative?
You can adjust it where it comes out solid?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes. Is it innovative? Yes. Is it stupid?
Well,
yes.
Yes, but you know what? Think about it this way, though, because Metal Complex said the same thing. Why would you gold plate that? Is it usable? No. But what it is they're a newer company, and it's a flex from a marketing standpoint to show what they can do. It probably does make sense from look what we can do. Check this out, though.
Specifically the Genesis version, which I believe this version with the 24 karat gold plated blade did not release until
24 gold plated M390. So it's a show off knife for sure.
2025. The Alchem was debuted in 24. If you've never seen this knife, it's insane. You use this little morphing robot scorpion tail tab back here to release the I gotta make sure and keep that tight, and good thing they sent all the tools and everything, but you use that right there to release the blade, which obviously spreads out, and then if you sort of shift the pivot,
watch this,
the blade comes,
so you can just adjust the pivot and it won't split apart. I mean, again, it's not a usable knife, but the fact that somebody designed it, I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, like I said, I think
and then
the innovation and design of it is cool, but I think it's stupid. Absolutely.
And then the next one he showed, which was the last one, which was his favorite, but he said it's totally ridiculously priced, and he doesn't say what the price is. It's a custom knife factory. Do y'all know about this knife?
What's up, Drizzy?
Full knives I have ever seen. This red carbon fiber, this is red shred carbon fiber.
Do y'all know what model custom knife factory knife that is?
That kind of looks a little bit like the where'd you go? It just leaves me. Anyways, what's up, everyone? Hopefully he shows back up, but I'm not 100% sure which custom knife factory is. There we go.
Pull myself out a little high.
Hey, you back?
Yeah, I clicked the wrong button. It looks like, because what I was going to say is the first one that doesn't have that black polished DLC looked very, very cool. But the one that he shows first looked familiar to me, but I think it's because that looked like a beg blaze. This one right here.
No, that is a. God, I'm having a brain fart. The name of it. I've seen that knife and I can't remember exactly.
Do you know? I'm just curious, approximately how expensive it is, because for him to say it's expensive, all custom knife factories are very expensive. And if he says this one's ridiculous,
well, some of them go up to $2 or $3 grand.
Okay, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, it depends on it. I mean, if they're full dress, but that one's not full dress.
No, but this,
yeah, I gotta be a part of it.
DLC
It's definitely overpriced. I don't care. I gotta own it with full sort of vapor blasted blade, hollow ground. I think these guys are M398. So cool. We got the cool carbon fiber inlays and the cherry on top.
That's a Sakoshi, I think.
You're probably right. You know what I bet? Come to think about it, I bet you he tells us what it is right here.
The Custom Knife Factory and Peter Rizzenti Snafu.
Oh,
Peter
yeah.
Rizzenti Snafu. Okay.
That's right. Sakoshi is the one that is with Marfione. The Snafu is the one that he's done several iterations of that with Peter Rizzenti. He did the Snafu A, the B, but different models. But yeah, that's a gorgeous knife.
I think it's a good looking knife. The handle doesn't look super comfortable to me, but I'm sure it is. But then this one right there, I bet that's a lot more expensive with that black deal or that DLC.
Yeah, I mean, some of them get up there, but like, so here, let me find one for you. Here's a. Let me find this for you. Give me a second here.
Knife Nut 69, what is up, buddy?
They do a lot of like one-offs and stuff. So it's here we go. There's a 5th 18 that's a one-off. That's $2,100. Let's see, like I don't like that personally, but
you can respect it for what it is and the work that went into it.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. There's a lot of handwork that goes into that.
And how much you said was $2,800?
21.
21.
Yeah, see, look at that.
That drag, that's stunning, dude.
Yeah.
That is stunning. And who makes that, Peter Rizzenti?
No, that's a CKF.
Oh, that's a CKF.
Yeah.
And CKF are they in Russia, but they make them in China, maybe? Or
they are made in China, but they are supposedly assembled in Russia.
That something. Remember, I was telling y'all earlier about fire hardened blades. Those knives I showed you. These guys right here.
Yeah,
on the side of the table. Well, I was on his website today, and he's just a guy that builds them in his garage. Does a great job. But if you go to the about, I thought this was really. I'm going to read it to you. It's real short.
Oh, wait a minute.
But
where did I see that? First of all, hello. Second of all, do you have a customer Rizzenti, or are you talking about a production?
Wheeling and dealing.
No, I can't afford that. But but that is Rosenti makes amazing knives.
So on his about section, he says, he talks about when I was a kid, my mother wouldn't let me make a knife until I was older. So I decided to make my own. 5 years later, I'm offering my blades to the public. And it goes, FHB is proudly American made. That's not it. Hold on. Because it says made, assembled, sharpened, finished. Here we go. I think it's. So when you go down to the bottom of one of these knives, craftsmanship, hand ground, shaped, assembled, sharpened, and packed in the USA. That's not leaving a lot that ain't done in the USA. I just think that's a neat way to do it. Instead of just said made in the USA, it's hand ground, shaped, assembled, sharpened, and packed. Letting you know that it's not going anywhere. But I'm really impressed with these little knives. I haven't cut with them yet. Richard says they cut very, very well. But the comfort of these little handles, these little rock pattern handles, and I love the black. I don't know what you'd call that. It's not black. It's almost like acid etched. But they're little beauties. Stabby Stokes is in the house. Everybody say hi to Miss Stabby. What's up, Stabby?
Damn.
What are you doing?
Hang on 1 second. Let me pull this up.
That was a snafu.
Here we go. All right, here we go. You see that?
I can. What is that? Crystallized?
Yep.
Whose knife is that?
That is a Sean O'Connell custom.
Someone else I've never ever heard of. That looks like a super sick hollow grind too.
Yeah, that I don't have the funds, unfortunately, because that is a banging price on that.
And you're on one of those trading sites that I'm not familiar with. What site is that? Blade Forum?
No, that one is that's a Little Rascal. It's not a very big knife. You like that, John? It's like 7 3/8 overall. 2K new. He's asking $888 for it.
Really? Well, some people, I mean, you can find great deals.
Oh, yeah, you definitely can.
I'm looking at that Overland right now because I'm not familiar with it. But I can tell you this. I love washer knives. Kyle, are you familiar with the Millet? This knife here, the Overland?
I'm familiar with Millet as a company.
Are they usually a fixed blade maker? Because I think I've seen it.
No, they've done folders in the past, and they did some OEM work as well too. They ran into some trouble with that, and they shut down for a while, but I guess they're back at it.
We can do that because we're assembled. We're not shipping in 5 to 15 days. Sleek lightweight. CPMS 35 VN. I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't have a problem with S35, but that seems, I like the shape of it. It reminds me, I should know the name of it looks just like a fixed blade that I reviewed from Knives and More. I love the blade shape. If it's USA made, which I guess it is. Knives are made. Let's see. I just don't know anything about them. Again, I learned so much just from you. That's kind of a crappy page. I'd pull that off my tree. I'd make that go away. Just hide it till I had some questions. Have you handled one? Be Shady, have you experienced one? I've never experienced one. Jeffrey, have you? Where do you find them? I mean, are they Either, yeah, the Overland Fixie. That's what I thought. That's the one. Oh, without permission, because that's the one that I reviewed. Let me show you. That's exactly what it was looked like. Yes, that's the knife that I reviewed. Hold on. And they call that, yeah, TJ Schwartz. Man, I've got to work on my SEO. Anyway, it's so let's look at Stas's just picture of it. To me, it looks identical. And it has the same name. So it's got to be, there's got to be a collaboration, right? When you say who said for without permission? See it right there? That, so this is what the fixed blade looks like.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the fixed blade. Yeah, that's TJ Schwartz.
No, I tried to stop it when it was showing the profile. So if you look at that and then you look at the folder, to me, they look almost identical. So there's got to be, I would think to take a design and name it the same thing is asking for some kind of serious heat. I would think surely there's got to be some love, cooperation going on there. Let's see what they say about it. By Millet. The Overland by Millet. So before I even looked at that other knife, that's the one it reminded me of. Millet folders combining innovation of T.J. Schwartz. Yeah, it's a collaboration. Combining the innovation of T.J. Schwartz designs, and the quality of Millet knives manufacturing represent the Overland by Millet. Okay, so that takes the mystery out of it. Good, cool knife. I'll tell you this. I went and I don't own it, and they sold it, but Knives and More, that local knife store of mine, had one of those, and it was in that olive green, and it just always caught my eye. So I brought it home. I didn't cut with it because it wasn't my knife, but what I'll do is I'll death grip knives to see if I feel hot spots, and then I'll, just kind of experience it. But it was a very well-designed fixed blade knife. It was like $225, and had I had the money, I probably would have bought it. It was a nice one. But the folder looks pretty cool.
Nice. Wow.
Oh, no, Knife Nut. It's not, it wouldn't surprise me a bit because, like I think Kyle said, they've had some issues before. And we all know, if we remember the story of Lefty trying to get the growler made in America. I mean, there are American companies that'll do crazy shit. Look at Jake Hobeck, for God's sake. In God we trust, while I lie to you.
You familiar with the Koenig Mini Goblin?
I've never held one, but I'm very familiar with the look of it.
Okay. Well, dude, resale value on shit sucks right now. I'm just looking at different things. I just saw one sell that had very, very light scratching on my pivot and went for $475.
$900 knife, isn't it?
Yeah, 900 to 1,000.
Yeah. Luke, that's funny. You see Luke's comment?
What? No. Nope.
But is the Mini Goblin about the size of a Mini Arius? I mean, it looks pretty small. And to me, the Arius used to not do it for me, but the Mini Goblin never really got my creative. I need that knife juices flowing.
Wow. Thanks, Shane. I think.
Oh, cool, Jeffrey. Well, I'm very interested in learning more about it. Maybe I'll see one at Blade Show next year because or maybe I might have something coming up job wise that I'll be able to buy something. But I would definitely be interested in a folding version of that knife, even though I would probably be more prone to buy a fixed blade version of it first because I've experienced that and just really liked it. I need to go back and watch that video. The guy telling me why I don't need to carry EDC fixed blades. And he doesn't make bad points. And the video is kind of misleading because he talks at the end, just whatever you want to carry. So I didn't have a problem with the guy doing the video. Damn, 1931, that does suck, brother. I hope things get better. Take care of your mental health. That's the most important thing you can do. And know all that shit will change. I always like to quote Eddie Vedder and go, rear view mirror. I know that wasn't a good production of Eddie Vedder, but I'm sorry, Terry. That sucks, my friend.
Damn, dude. Sorry, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed around and I would still be around because when I got married, I was going to do it forever regardless. And it sucked. And I knew kind of that it wasn't great, but I had a good kid out of it and just stuck it out. But it was a good thing that we went to counseling and realized that we weren't, compatible. And once I got sober, it was just blatantly obvious. So, think of it as a sign of saving you more grief down the road. I agree with that. But and that's another thing that I'll do. I don't watch knife content. I did some today, but I do look at thumbnails and titles, and you got to do something to stand out. I mean, I don't think you should be dishonest, but it was almost like a question. I forget the exact thumbnail. Maybe it says, is there any need really to carry an EDC fixed blade? Something like that makes you think it's going to be a shit on. But again, to go to Shane's point, it doesn't matter. It's what you want. That local weather. Dude, it's turning to be fall here. In 1931, things can always change, dude. Life is according to Elon Musk, there's only a 2% chance it's not a simulation anyway. Mick Ranger, what's up?
Terry, on a positive note, I guess it's better that she went slumming instead of going for some rich dude
that's more likely the
crazy well off, but that would make you feel worse.
Yeah, because it may be, and I don't know anything about it, but I just talk too much anyway. But it could be something, some addiction thing that she fights in the back of her head and things. You never know. I don't know. I know I've done some crazy shit that I'm not proud of, but getting divorced was not one of them. I used to wonder why divorces were so expensive, but it's because they're such a good value when you look at the overall cost.
Man, don't get me started on that.
1931 Leatherworks. That is the other side of the coin. Always makes sense, buddy.
Well,
yeah,
I guess that's true, Terry.
I agree with Richard. Always.
I was trying to make it positive.
By not talking about it does make it positive.
No, I'm saying I was trying to make it positive about going that option so that way we feel better. But
Oh, yeah, I know, definitely, definitely. And I agree when you feel like they've traded down. When I would know they traded down anyway, but the modus operandi, and it happens more now than it ever did, is women will just trade up if they get the opportunity. Most, not most, but a lot. You hear about it a lot.
well, it stems from horrible laws in place that allows that to happen with no consequence.
And I think a lot of it is society slowly changing and breaking down, if you want to call it, where things like that aren't considered important. You know, nobody's having kids anymore. That, like my daughter's age, I mean, some of them are, but they're not having kids. Like, I mean, I only had one kid. So we're I don't know if it's just that we're becoming less active, or we're just, it's a lot going on.
Richard, grass is green, mud is brown.
Yeah, that's true. Each side of the fence, there you are. Wherever you go, there you are. And what I found in my personal situation is every time I thought there's a problem, the problem's always been with me. Because I learned, or I'm learning, or have learned, that the only person that can control or change my happiness is me. If I think somebody else is going to do that. Now, people can make you miserable. People can, enhance your happiness, but you got to be committed to the grow.
Well, the part of the problem is too that too many people are codependent nowadays, and they feel like they have to have someone. Then everything becomes, it's either a do or die situation versus not settling and getting exactly what you want and deserve, but also while you're working on yourself.
Great
making
point.
it work.
Great point. As that affects me, all my friends had gotten married. I'd gotten in a relationship with somebody who's a great person, but I didn't. I got married because I was one of the only people that wasn't married out of my group. Granted, I found a great person, have a wonderful child. We have a very cordial relationship, but it's I should have just done my thing. But nowadays, like Brittany, my daughter, has had only steady boyfriends, but she'll always say, she goes, I don't know if I'll ever get married. They don't look at it as something. I don't know any of her friends that she went to college with that have run off and gotten married, that still date, live together, cohabitate, do all that. Yeah, but any communication is the best thing you can have, because when our communication broke down, so did our marriage, and it just slowly drifts. But if we can continue communicating, we might have realized on a much more amicable level that we could either grow and continue to enjoy each other, or maybe it was time to come up with a more, planned, calculated exit. Communication, I think, is good, but communication is not easy, because if you harbor resentments, you don't want to spend your free time talking to that person.
B Shady, that is accurate. My dad was a horrible husband and got divorced, ended up remarrying, and made it work, and made it to where he was actually a great husband and great stepdad and granddad to the kids on that side of the family, which he wasn't in the first marriage, but I'm glad to see that he actually got the fulfillment and made somebody else's lives better.
Exactly. And this might not correlate, but you always hear, and again, I said, you're only responsible for your happiness, but let me finish the thought if I can remember it. The person you marry can, I'm going to say, reinforce your happiness by 90% or bring it down by 90%. So it could be that he'd matured, but he met someone who was more understanding, which then allowed him to be more understanding, which allowed him to grow more based on constructive criticism from somebody he trusted. You never know. I mean, I think we all, I don't know what a sociopath's like, but I think we all want to be better than we were yesterday. We want to try to learn something and not make the same mistake or, you know, continue to evolve.
Congratulations, Richard. I didn't know you got married at 60.
And Richard, I can vouch for this. His wife is awesome. And it is, I'm not going to tell a story, but it is definitely a fate situation. They were meant to be together. 1931 Leatherworks, we need to talk. I attract those people. Are you an empath or an empath? What do you call somebody that's very empathetic? Oh, I can't pronounce that word. But I always feel like
a sucker.
Yeah, sucker. So I always feel like the person, the reason they are the way they are is they just haven't been, you know, that they've lacked something, which they have, which is permanently traumatized them. But I always feel like I can fix somebody when I can't even fix myself. So I'm delusional, but I do have also bad luck. And I attract that because I've done a lot of, I hate to even use the word self-help, but I read a lot of books when I was in that 4-year relationship.
But that's also goes back to what I was saying earlier, John. That's on you. You've got to get to the point where you're happy with yourself. Therefore, you're not looking for someone to make you happy. You're looking for someone to be
absolutely
a partner, and you're not willing to settle for something less.
Right. But the point of this is when I'd always, my whole life has been, you know, this person is a good person. I just need to get to the bottom of it. Well, with this last person, it was a little different because there were a lot of firsts in that. And it was a simple, sorry for the French, but just a titty attraction. So your common logic of this person's clearly in the physician or the psychological reference of freaking symptoms. You sometimes, you know, lust is blind.
Well, and sometimes it also, if you're not in a position,
New World Sip, Brando, that's beautiful.
If you're not in a position where you're comfortable, you know, pushing stuff away as far as options, or you're not, or you want that attention, sometimes you get sent down the wrong path of leading to someone who will give you attention that's not worth your time. And that's kind of going back to knowing what you bring to the table, and is that person going to compliment you, or is that person going to drag you down?
Absolutely. And I take as much responsibility and for all that. I mean, I do, because again, that's something that I think that's why I was the way I was when I turned to alcohol to get a personality, is because I've always kind of felt insecure in my skin. I mean, a lot of that's changed with age. You know, you turn 50 and you really give much less of a fuck. But I've also valued my not having to do the dance. I'm not feeling driven to do the dance right now. And the other thing is, I know I enjoy my little knife world, and it's something that I would have never, ever, ever touched a toe into if I'd stayed in the situation I was in. Either one of the situations I was in, I would not have been doing YouTube.
Brando,
now, will I be doing YouTube next week? I don't know, but it would not have worked.
Brando, I'll disagree slightly. We're meant to support and provide. We're not meant to fix something that's broken. There's a big difference there. I think, unfortunately, now we've gotten to the point where we're pushing so much of they don't need any support. They're the boss bitch, so to speak, and you get to the point where you're fixing more versus having that person as a support system and providing for them for that. But
I understand what Brando's saying. Yeah,
I see what he's saying, but I think that unfortunately is slightly flawed logic, because you're not meant to pick someone that you have to change. You're meant to pick someone that makes you a better you, and vice versa.
Correct. And I think in so many different ways, I'm also flawed as a people pleaser. So the more you try to change, that's on me to try to fit somebody's ideal. You're never going to live up to that. So it's always going to be something that's going to put you in an uncomfortable position. So what I learned in that situation going forward is it is what it is, right? And that doesn't mean I'm not going to continue to evolve and listen to what you say and hear you and try to be, because I'm a compromiser. I think life's a compromise, right? Debate, not hate, but not to get walked on. And mine was a lot more different. Mine was one of those things that I don't know, I don't know if institution is too strong of a word, but I could be the greatest thing, and 4 minutes later, I could be the cause of everything wrong. I mean, there would be like a snap. It's not. It was not sane behavior.
Gotcha,
But I
buddy.
grew up with it for a lot of time because, it was. I felt like I had something good.
Gotcha, Brenda. I know I get what you're saying now. I just was clarifying my point, but I see what you're saying. The Terry, that's life, buddy, but that shouldn't be a first priority. I think looking for that is going to lead you to kind of what you had. I think finding someone that from a different spot will give you better options. And you also could have options. There are plenty of people out there.
It's very appealing for people that a dad that takes care of his kids is something. Women look for security amongst other things, and they look for people that are good people. I think, and there's an old saying, and it's happened to be once and it didn't last, but when you're not looking for it, it's when you're going to find it. And when you're out with your kids doing your thing, they're going to be people that are appreciating the way you're interacting with those kids. And they're going to see that as much more of a value added benefit that some guy that's chiseled, that's out there, that's, 46 throwing a Frisbee.
Well, there's a couple things too that are looked over. Being consistent, being trustworthy, being reliable, being funny, for one. Those are all attributes that will gain you traction from people you never thought that you would get it from. But being consistent is probably the number one trait that will
being consistent, and to me, is making sure that your actions back up your words.
Yeah.
And the relationships that I've had, those are they're sticklers on that. So be careful of your words and prepared to deliver on those. And I think, I'm not saying cockiness, but I think a manufactured or a
confidence, trust in your belief. Yeah,
self-confidence. You've gotta be able to, and I've learned, I guess, in my career to be able to kind of turn that on. And it's harder in a date situation because you're kind of letting your guard down at the same time you're guarding certain things. But, at the end of the day, the older I get, the less interested I'm in that relationship. But I don't know or consider myself less of a catch. It's just, I'm going to be a lot harder to catch because I don't give a fuck. It's just, and with that comes not necessarily self-confidence, but if you don't look like you're on the prowl, you're more, I think, open to find something that you might not have thought you were looking for. And that's, it happened to my dad twice. My dad is the cause of most of my childhood trauma. We didn't get along. I take care of him now, but that man met a woman at a bookstore, just looking at books. They dated for 14 years till she passed away of cancer, had a great relationship. And my dad at that time was probably 70. That was probably 10, 11 years ago. No, it was exactly 11 years ago because it was when we got divorced. So he thought, I'm not going to date anymore, you know? And so a week later, he took his trash out, and a lady across the street who he'd never met took her trash out. And they met. Like, he can't walk out of his house and not step in a vagina, is basically what I'm saying. And so he had a relationship with her until she went to the mental facility because of, you know, dementia too. But it's just never give up hope. I mean, he dated, I think he'll probably would say if he could, his two most fulfilling relationships happened post 60.
Yeah.
On every way. I mean, they traveled together. I think they were very intimate. I think, you know, all of it was, as a matter of fact, too much information coming here. When we first put my dad in a memory care facility before COVID, before we had to take him out and put him back home, he could have visitors. And, you know, so at the time, his lady friend would drive out.
Conjugal visits.
Miles. No, they can't do that. And I'll tell you, this is the bad part. So
they do anyways.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they get caught, and their oldest son, me, gets called at 12 o'clock at night that my 82-year-old dad's about to get kicked out because he won't, you know, he's not wanting people in the room because he's thinking it's like a condo at the beach, because that's kind of how we sold it to him. Just think about it as your condo at the beach. And I wanted to say to them, you know, he's paying enough for it. He can let her, you know, and evidently they were in there just who knows what. Makes me kind of want to throw up. At the same time, I kind of laugh.
Yep.
But yeah, I got the phone call. You know, you need to call your dad. He's in violation of code, and there's some code number, which to me, how can you? And maybe because if you're mentally deficient, they worry about people. I don't know. But I was kind of proud of him. I was thinking he was getting better.
Yeah. What I was gonna say too is, so like there was one comment here. Terry, that's part of it. Yeah, buddy. Just got to find someone who complements and betters your life, not just that way, because that's not worth your time and everything else. That's just something that subsides. So I think unfortunately, I'm not saying that I've never been this way at some point in my life, whatever, but at some point, everyone gets to the point where they go, okay, it's attention, I'll take it, and they get into something that they probably wouldn't have if they would have thought it out. And being intentional with your choices and decisions will put you in better positions to get what you're looking for.
That's the gospel truth. That the unfortunate reality for me, and I think a lot of other people, is like with knives, we see the shiny object maybe first. Maybe it's a shallowness in us that's looking for things that we think are desirable when we're not open to the things that really are, which is the compassion, the relationship. You know, we're judging books by their covers because that's the way we were conditioned. You making sense where guys might be looking for a look or a body type or something instead of what's important?
Right. Yeah. The
Todd Carr, that's what I said. The reason they're so expensive is because they're worth it. If you're in a terrible situation, I think it's proven physiologically that it can kill you, and if nothing else, will take years off your life.
I've had much better relationships with 7.5, 8. Sorry for judging or grading, but I'm just saying, like on the spectrum of what people would consider, than I have with any 9 or 10.
Absolutely, and I think there's a humility. It's kind of like a college athlete. I'm reaching for a tangent here. You know, they've been told they're good all their life, so they constantly do stupid shit and fuck up. And it's the same thing with those beautiful people. I'm not going to say women because beautiful men too. They're told their whole life and they don't develop the humility that gives them, in my opinion, the ability to have that type of compassion where if somebody's just living.
Get your notebook out and start taking notes, buddy.
No, we're not. Shane is somebody feeling? Are we making somebody feel? We're not talking about anybody specific. It's Shane, you're the last person that I was talking about. You've evolved, buddy.
Hey, Shane, put this on your DVR and record it. You're going to need to watch this back.
I think we can all learn from it. I mean, what's encouraging to me is when you spend time and you meet people and you know people that have loving, enriching, balancing relationships for their whole lives. I mean, it can be done. And a lot of it's both trying and the person you match with. And matching with that person is, listening to your gut and not rushing into anything. But more importantly, I kind of think, I think there's a fake component to it. I think people are brought together. I think we all have met our match, and sometimes we walk right past them. We're not tuned into it. Because they say behind every successful man is a strong woman. I don't know how true that is because I'm not that successful and I have no woman. I've been a whore free. You've been whore free for weeks. Congratulations, Shane. If you make it if you make it, we'll get you month chips. I won't even make you wait for a year to get a chip. I forget if it was Kevin Brennan, that comedian guy I watched that I made Shane watch, who says everybody's got it wrong. But you're not paying a prostitute for sex. You're paying a prostitute to leave.
That was Charlie Sheen.
Was that Charlie Sheen?
Yeah,
did you see him on Rogan last week?
Yeah, he said that years and years ago.
Right, but did you see him on Rogan when he was recounting all that and talking about what all happened? About how much testosterone he was using?
No, I didn't watch it, but I saw he was on there.
He is actually comes across so likable and so normal, and he admits he was out of his fucking mind. And what's funny is there's this Major League Baseball player. Charlie Sheen's a big baseball fan.
Right.
Well, when he was having a meltdown, this guy, and he showed his picture, or Joe Rogan did, and they all knew him. He's some superstar, called Charlie and said, "Man, I'm worried about you." He goes, people like us can't act out like everybody else. We're not the same. We're kind of like have Adonis DNA. It's almost like we've got tiger blood running through our veins because, we're elites at what we do. And, Charlie said what he was trying to do was talk me off a ledge, but in my testosterone fueled delusion, I was like, that's it, tiger blood. And that's where all that came from. So what happened is he was on that interview with not Diane Sawyer, but that lady where he went off on all the tiger blood stuff. It was one of his first interviews. And what triggered that is because he even explains it. He goes, well, what happened is off camera during one of the cuts, she dismissed the girls because that's when he was living with the one porn star and the other lady who wasn't a porn star.
Yeah.
And Charlie said, wait a minute. They're welcome to stay here. That's rude. And she apologized, but Charlie was pissed after that. So he said, not to mention that testosterone I was on, he was on the cream, and Joe was like, oh, you're on the cream? He goes, yeah, you're supposed to take an olive shaped size. He goes, dude, I was rubbing that shit on my body like ponds, and banging eight ball rocks, He was on a bender, but he talks about it like it was the craziest times of my life. I wouldn't recommend it, blah, blah, blah. And then Joe Rogan said, what a lot of people don't talk about when we all talk about why people get on drugs and why people's trauma leads to drugs. There is a basic reality that some drugs, when you first start taking them, are just fun. They work, they do what they're supposed to do. And
but at this day and age, or even the last 30 years, it's not like anyone didn't know those bad decisions would lead to bad consequences.
Well, to explain alcohol and cigarettes.
Same thing.
But people aren't just going to go sober. Nobody's going to live. If you look at recorded history, as long as it's been recorded, sobriety has always been at some point, whether it's ceremoniously, they're doing it for religious ceremonies or whatever. The altered consciousness is something that's sought after. Squirrels eat fermented fruit to get a little buzz.
Well, it's always been too the internal battle of good versus evil and picking what is right for you or not. I mean, that's
Right.
every single day you have choices that make your life better or worse.
Absolutely.
And how many times do you pick the right one? Less often than you would think.
Sure.
But with the knowledge out there, you have the info to make better choices. And if you don't, that's fine. It's just on you. But that is
my point is, and I agree with you, because smoking numbers have gone way down.
correct.
You know what the number one, and well, I'm not going to say it because we had to chat GPT it the other day. Richard and I were talking about it, which, because I thought fentanyl might be the number one killer, but alcohol still, well, tobacco kills more people, but alcohol is the number one killer. And it's so socially acceptable.
Correct.
That, to me, if it was all about making better choices, there'd be a lot of education about what not to do. But then again, I think adults should be able to make decisions. And if you go back to Chinese history, it was opium. If you do research on the Wild West, there's some great stuff on the Wild West and the drugstores of the Wild West, and how all those people were strung out on all this stuff coming from France.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. So there's now you're getting into like government versus free will, and there's a huge balancing act there when you have to look at, are you going to sell table saws to people with no top
guards, right?
I mean, are you going there are certain things that you do in behest of the people to try to make things safe. Do I think, like with prohibition, was that ideal? No, because it created speakeasies and created more of a demand, and it created thinking that is more desirable. So, but I also am not for different states who are letting you freebase black tar in the middle of public either. Like, there are certain things that, people should be steered clear from solely for the protection, because it's not about that person making that choice. It's about that person making that choice and affecting everyone else around them.
Correct. Todd, I think that's something that, to me, I totally agree with. And we were talking about this not too long ago, and listen to this train of thought. I think fentanyl, the only reason fentanyl would be showing up in cocaine and other drugs is because it's warfare. It's
correct.
China or the cartels not trying to keep customers, because I've got experience in moving weight and altering weight. And we used to use a substance called inositol, which is B12. And the only reason you would adulterate a product is to get more weight, so you could take out pure, put in a cut, and then make it go further. If you put in something that weighs almost nothing, they're not doing it to offset a weight advantage. Plus, with it being so toxic, why would you want your customers to not be repeat customers? That's anti everything. It's street cred. So to me, is it just another way to destroy our society?
Absolutely.
But there's another part of that I think personally, that everybody talking about the cocaine, I know the heroin supply is probably fentanyl diluted all across the country. I do not believe the cocaine supply is tainted like they say, because the cartel, I don't know of any Chinese cartels. The people that are moving that are coming through Colombia and Mexico. And they're not going to cooperate with somebody that's going to hurt their business model. The thing they're the most scared of is legalization.
I disagree on that, because there's a direct partnership between like the Sinaloa cartel and Chinese government, and or like They're gangs, basically. They have
If
for
they have a
for a better term, they have mafia over there.
Sure they do. Sure they do.
But a lot of it is government controlled. So the issue, going back to Fent, is it is phenomenal for what it's designed for. The problem is the abuse of it outside of a controlled environment. So like in a hospital setting, it works wonders for people. In the street, when it's getting, you don't know what you're getting, and it's in
cut with trank and everything else.
Lethal doses, and you don't know what you're taking. It is killing people. But the issue is we're allowing things to slip through, not accidentally. We know it's happening, and the warfare between it is who's willing to put a stop to it. So
yeah, and you hit on a much bigger issue. And Neil, I just want to say, dude, one day at a time, congratulations. I hope you feel a lot better, and you'll just keep adding time. Keep adding time.
I don't
because you're in a minority.
I don't count days, but I'm at roughly 23 and a half years.
I'm almost at 11, but I've got an app that counts days.
Well, because I don't know an exact day. I just
Mine was May 17th. And the year was, we just separated, or I'm going blank on it. Was it? I don't remember the year, but it's almost 11. It's almost 11 years. And it was May 17th was my sobriety date. And I didn't plan on getting sober.
What's up, Kevin?
I was just at my marriage counselor. We were there, and he knew I was a drinker and a drugger, and thought I needed to go to a program just to see what I thought about it. And he didn't want me to go to NA because in Huntsville, NA has a bad reputation of relapse and people preying on. It's just, he thought, he gave me a specific group, which was a blessing, because I went in there just to listen to it, hear what it was. Never identified myself as an alcoholic for months, but I left that meeting on a Wednesday at about 8:15 when it was over. I was living at my mom's at the time because I just moved out. Had beer in the refrigerator, or not beer, that apple orchard shit. And I drank a couple each night. And for some reason, when I came home that Wednesday, I didn't drink one. So I only went to meetings on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So Thursday, I didn't have a meeting, did not drink anything. And at the time, I was not using anything else because I was getting tested for my Adderall. So I didn't drink anything Thursday. So that was one of my really first full sober days. Wednesday, that was my second. So I went back Friday, was dreading it, thinking I wasn't going to go. And something just stuck. So I tell people, if you failed at it 100 times, 101 could be the right person, the right group, the right something that gives you that thing that we all have in us, but none of us believe at the time that we do. I never thought I would be able to kick some of the things that I kicked, ever. I would have never imagined it. I thought it would be a forever vice that would eventually cost me my life.
Unfortunately, you didn't kick the one thing you should have kicked,
which is
Grateful Dead.
The Grateful Dead, I have pretty much kicked them. I still appreciate the memories, but I don't listen to them that's the thing I don't do. I don't know if y'all do. I don't listen to a lot of music anymore. I mean, in the morning when I wake up, I'll put on something. I've been listening to weird shit like Peter Gabriel. So I'm getting old.
I go through stages. I'll watch a ton of stuff and then I won't watch anything. Or listen to anything. It just all depends on.
You've got to be in the mood to receive music for it to not be.
I almost enjoy seeing people discover new music versus me actually listening to something. Plus, now I'm to the point where I don't like discovering nearly as much new stuff as I like revisiting some older classic favorites of mine.
That's what I've been doing.
I get very kind of stuck in my certain rut of what I listen to. I don't expand a whole lot. because I like what I like. And I don't think a lot of the new stuff is nearly, because I'm getting old apparently. So I don't think a lot of the new stuff is nearly the same as what, and some of it's nostalgia. I mean, obviously you're used to what you like when you grew up on it, and it has memories. So you associate it to memories. But yeah, I don't listen to like radio or new stuff very often.
Are you familiar with Peter Gabriel?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put a link that I just want you to copy and watch later. It's just a live version of a song. This one I had this album in college, but I'm a lot older than you. But let me put this link in here. I'm not going to play it because it'll just goober squash me. But this link right here, and this, the way I found this, do you ever watch those reaction videos?
Yep.
Where like somebody will listen to the song for the first time,
yep.
like Alice in Chains or Mike Patton and talk about it. Well, that's how I first saw this. And it's done, I think it's recorded probably in 86, 88. It's Peter Gabriel and his band doing In Your Eyes. And it starts, the stage is around, and it's like an in the round stage, right? So the drums are set up in the center, but everything, and the piano set up, but everything else is moving around the stage. They are. And the lid lifts off the stage, so it just comes up. And it is the most chill bump inducing real music. So when you think about auto-tune and you think about all the snafus that happen at live concerts now, people not really playing their shit, I'm not going to call anybody out, Agnes Young, but it's inspiring shit to watch. Even if you don't love that song, watch that video. Any of you guys that like music, watch that video for the link that I put in there.
Most of the stuff that if I listen to anything that's newish, like in the last 5 to 10 years, it is typically, I have one type of voice that I look for. And it's typically raspy female voices that have range. And most of those end up becoming more, they're not as mainstream. They're more.
That is correct.
They're more of like bluesy, folksy artist, singer, songwriter.
Are you keen with Susan Tedeschi?
I know who she is, but I was thinking more like one of my favorites of all time is Haley Reinhart.
I gotcha.
Then you got Lise. What is her last name? Lise something or other. Then obviously like Bishop Briggs. Any of those types.
Were you, and I know this is a different kind of voice and a similar description, but were you ever a Stevie Nicks fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I found her voice very hypnotic in a way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was never necessarily a fan of the band, but like respect and admiration for her voice of like Ann Wilson.
Oh yeah.
Like there are different voices that just resonate with you. And
well, there's if you watch that Peter Gabriel, he has different people dancing on stage with him, and like he'll throw a part which is just one of the cleanest. It's not raspy, but this woman has an angelic voice and she sings twice in it, not even a whole verse, but he just kind of pitches up. I mean, the whole thing's just, you got to watch it, dude. Trust me. I wouldn't lead you wrong on that one. I know I've led you wrong down a lot of others, but I wouldn't do that to you. So we're going to snipe.
We got about 10 minutes. I know.
We got a second to snipe and see what's happening over on Donnie's channel. Hold on. No, it's on Scotch and Things.
Well, I'm gonna bail out and go get some food.
All right, hey, all right, brother. I'm about to get out of here too. Let me just see if they're live. Hold on, I was just kind of kidding, but let's see if they're live. They're live. Let's see who's in there. Brant, Scotch, and Donnie. Yeah, okay. So they're talking about Hinderers, Striders, and life. Guys,
hey, Richard.
I appreciate all y'all coming and hanging out with us. Tomorrow at 2:30, channel members, stop by the live stream. It'll be going for an hour. You don't have to be there for an hour. Just drop the magic word when you see it. Kyle, thanks for always hanging out and dropping logic and education bombs. I do appreciate it. I learn a lot.
I just ramble.
Yes, definitely bangers. We found boxes for fixed blades. Richard, we were dealing with some stuff today, and he found a bunch of boxes. So cool giveaway tomorrow. Y'all stop by. I do appreciate each of you. Hope to see you at Said Faction. That's where I'm going after I pee. But do me a favor, look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart, and always choose debate, not hate. Love you guys. Peace.
Let's watch two Vons witness and get high on cigarettes.